Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to the Monaco Sports Series. Oh yes, the Formula Challenge have been around there, the Super Cup have been around here, the Super League have been around here, and now we are returning to the site of quite an infamous race in WSS history. But this time we're making it a little bit more segmented with two races to hopefully stifle the crazy action that happened last year. My name is James Kirk, and alongside me, as always, is Mr. Bradley Vanian. And, well, by looking at the amount of talent we have on the show and the streets of Monaco, we're bound to have incidents, and we're bound to have great racing as well, we hope.
Yeah, we have a slightly bigger field than we saw 2 weeks out at Catalonia. And, as you said, the talent here is absolutely extraordinary, and this is one of those tracks which will really separate the men from the boys, especially with the possibility of rain in the race. Currently, though, we are in Superpole and there is no rain. Just watching Oscar Hardwick start his Superpole lap. He's the first one out on track.
No, I must say, actually, you're talking about no rain. I am seeing bits of specks of rain now at certain parts of the circuit. And this is one thing that WSS hasn't had to deal with yet. We've had rain in one practice session, and that was indeed 2 weeks ago at the Circuit de Catalunya. We're very likely to have showers here, and so it's going to be very interesting to see, especially on the tightest circuit on the calendar, how everyone goes out. There's a couple of new names here, some names not here also. The likes of Peter Carcer, who's made a real impact on the championship, not here along with his teammate Ari Niemann. But as Bradley Rice says, we are focusing on Oscar Hardwick, who has a bit of a gruffy lap, to say the least.
Yeah,
Jordan Weeks behind him, really actually keeping pace with him.
Yeah, the corner before the turn, he only clipped the inside wall a bit. You know, usually at that corner, you only seem to actually miss the apex and run wide, but he actually turned in too early and he hit the inside wall.
Nevertheless, Oscar Hardwick does continue on in a real strong position. Unfortunately, the GPVWC wiki is still down, and so I can't give you exact numbers on where everyone is in the championship. But one thing is for certain, and that is that Oscar Hardwick is there or thereabouts in the lead. I believe Peter Carcer's now third, actually. But anyway, Hardwick will round the final corner. I'm hearing crashes everywhere, and I'm not sure whether that's real crashes or not. Rain is definitely on the pit straight, though, and Oscar Hardwick, getting out early, has set the provisional pole time of 1:36.1. Jordan Weeks behind at 1:36.3, or sorry, 4 even. Wupke Hoekstra, new man for Pulse Racing, has gone in second, actually, a tenth ahead of him. And there's just a couple of times just flowing in now, and we'll let that all settle down as we go to... Let's go to David Stanton.
Sorry, just want to say we have a few problems currently, so just going to sort out the cameras. So, sorry about that.
David Stanton has actually finished his lap, so perhaps we can find someone who is just about to start their lap. Yeah. Perhaps we can have a little look at Aaron Shergill, who's currently P24, and actually looking at the pit straight, the rain really starting to come down now, and Aaron Shergill, who's won the last out, might have chosen a pretty bad time to do everything. Eric Tvite's in a similar situation. He's just come out the pit lane. Williamson as well. And oh dear, Scott Sovics crashed into the wall. And, oh, he'd already set a lap, so that's alright. But anyway, on board with Aaron Shergill. He's had a bit of a muted entrance into WSS so far, just looking to try and get any points he can, really, for the United Racers team. And to be fair, with the rain as it is at the moment, they're really struggling to get around.
Yeah, just want to say cameras are now back, so sorry about that. All sorted though.
All sorted. And oh dearie me, a real tank slapper on the exit there as Shergill enters the tunnel. No safety here. The rain manages to get through all the buildings above it and still affect racing. And poor Dimitri Demulmeister is being held up behind him. He's on his in-lap of all things. So really shows how much worse the track conditions are and how possibly Shergill might have made the bad mistake of going out too late.
Yeah, in Superpole sessions, well, usually I find that going better is an advantage because the track can get warmer. But obviously, with the added randomness of weather and rain, that can be just thrown out the window, especially with a high likelihood of rain, which is what we have here today.
Right, this could be one of the quickest qualifying sessions of the year. Not, well, it must be not 6 minutes gone, and we already have majority of the cars done and dusted. But Aaron Shergill there slots in P15 a 143.0. Oh goodness me, Yaltayan has disqualified himself for Infinity Esports Racing. A noob, I guess, in terms of not reading the rules. You're not allowed to do more than one flying hot lap, Jarl. And down to the back of the grid he goes, and that's quite a shame actually, because he was looking on the pace.
Well, I don't know if that might have been a glitch, possibly, but so yeah, I've just got one of the Epic Racing cars here, just in the final corner.
Oh,
number 19.
Jason Muscat.
Yep, so Jason Muscat usually races for the Multiforce team, but here he is racing the Epic Racing team. Just starting his, so he's just starting his Super Pole lap, and look at that, you can only see.
Then he is...
Slight rain there in turn 1, so definitely a lack of grip in that first sector and also in the last sector. You can still see spits of rain. Going up now to this casino square.
Looking actually quite tidy from Muscat, it must be said. I mean, God forbid, it's probably going to be a commentator's curse now, but looking at Jason's performance 2 weeks ago in Catalonia, doing a really, really nice job for Epic Racing. They received a bit of stick a couple of weeks before that, indeed, at Hungary, for the drivers essentially and bluntly being too slow, which I think is a slight bit unfair. You know, they said that they'd hardly have any time to practice, and you know, I'm willing to believe them on that. You know, if you're out of practice and if you don't have much time on your hands, then sim racing in general is a difficult task. But thankfully, they have found someone with the caliber of Jason Muscat to fill in for, well, what seems to be both Anthony Davidson and Smith. As someone goes in there, we'll check.
Wow. So it's Tvide, who's actually, only just on his lap, 7 minutes, about 5 minutes later than everyone else in rainy conditions, just gone up to 7th.
7th?
Good
That's
result
very
there for
impressive.
Racing. And, that Williamson then down in 16th position, it's not good there for him and the Wood Racing team.
And yeah, Jason Muscat is going to be the last man to cross the line. Everyone else has either crashed or finished their hot laps, and it's looked pretty good actually from Jason. I imagine that it's not going to be as fast as the others due to the pure factor of the rain, but here we go, he crosses the line to go 13th, so decent effort there from the Epic Racing man. And just to go through the top 3 for you, or 5 even, Oscar Hardwick, the first guy we saw, takes pole position by a couple of couple of hundredths from Alex Cooper, championship rival, and great performance from Wilkie Hoekstra on debut, 3rd for the Pulse Racing man, followed by Jordan Weeks, again, showing he can do it in qualifying for Epic Racing. And Bart DeVos, once again, a strong showing for Innovision in 5th place.
Yeah, I've got to say that's a really good performance there from Wilkie. He is a quick driver, but I really did not expect him to be that high up in qualifying. He's doing quite well currently in the 2013 Formula Challenge Series. I think he's 4th or 5th in the Drivers' Championship. Just
behind Thomas Jacobs, I believe, by a point.
Yeah, and he's only got a win at the opening round Australia, so it's he's no slouch, to put it lightly.
Well, I think the Pulse Racing team principal Hugo Nombre is going to be absolutely delighted with this. Pulse Racing as a whole have been looking to really settle themselves into GPVWC and have sort of spread themselves out like, I don't know, an eagle's wingspan over all the series. They're planning to enter World GT at Nürburgring. They're entering Monaco, the World Sports Series this time, just now, as we say. And I believe they're also planning on going into Formula Challenge as well. So they're going to be absolutely ecstatic with that. And also, shout out to Eric to Bite as well. P7 overall for Ice Cold. Jack Sedgwick, actually, who is Hoekstra's teammate, P8.
Pretty good. That is pretty good.
For a new team. For a new team, it's pretty good.
Oh, no. I think I was. I didn't really put that heavily enough. That's a very good performance there.
And also, one thing which we might want to note is the lack of CSG here this weekend. Of course, we note Sean Stroud for his rocket start, and he is not present today. And, well, his teammate Pedro Lim is present. However, there's been a bit of coercing going on in the 2 weeks between Catalunya and Monaco. And because Alex Cooper's regular teammate, Ryan Gilmore, who's had a bit of a choppy season so far, isn't here today, he's actually drafted in I should say Nick Rowland, sorry, who's a Midnight Boss, has drafted him, Pedro Malim, to race for Gilmore tonight. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all pans out, and I'm quite interested to see how Pedro explains himself after the race, because it's not quite often we see members of a team switch to another team within the championship and then plan to go back afterwards.
Well, the PGE group as a whole, it's very heavily linked, and okay, I'm sorry, I'm just the one drag racing driver, Murdostock, I don't understand what he's doing. He's gone out twice, and he's done about 5 meters, and then both times he's escaped back to the pits. And now he's going back out again, I believe. I don't really see the point in that, but yeah.
He's going out again.
And look at that, he's stopping again, so...
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with Mert Ozturk, to be honest. I mean, yeah, that's bizarre, but either way, he's not going to set a qualifying lap now.
Well, he's definitely got the most pointless thing to ever do in the whole 2013 GPVWC.
Oh, he's going out again! Oh, wait, no. Oh, hilarious. I love it. Oh, poor Mert.
He's just trolling now.
He is trolling us, and... Well, he may be new to WSS, but he said, well, I don't know what his motives are, but either way, I hope he certainly remains for the race, because we don't know anything about him. And he's just turned up, casually, for drag racing. So, we still have about 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes of qualifying left, and I think we're going to sit out the remainder of that, because it's official and all that. But let's have a look at further down the grid. Reece Roten's left the game. Good. Right, let's go through a couple of other new men turning up. So, another team making their debut today is TWR. And I love TWR. I know them over at GRC, as a matter of fact. And the team is made up of John Watkins and the sole representative today, Paul Watkins. And you may notice a resemblance there. That is because they are father and son team. And I must admit that Paul Watkins has done a pretty stand-up job getting himself into 14th there. I mean, he's not recognised as the fastest of drivers, but a really solid effort for his debut in WSS. Who else have we got who's new? We've got Team... Actually, no, I think Team Roxal raced at Catalonia, so we've already covered them.
Yeah.
Reed isn't here. And yeah, we've already covered Jarl Tyen, who you saw disqualify himself. We're not sure about the origins of that. He's either not read the rules or he's escaped out and he'll be put back into whatever position he was. But he is at Infinity, which is usually Jake Cooper and John Hicken. We're not sure whether this is going to be on a permanent basis or whether it's just to get the team some points, hopefully. But either way, he's a quick driver, and starting at the back of the field certainly will not be a good recipe there. But you never know. You know, some people are quite competent around Monaco and seem to find overtaking places where others are. Whether others aren't even, I should say.
So, as quali's over, what will you predict for the race?
I think
do you think Hardwick will get away, or do you think that anyone else, maybe, you know, Wookie Archer in third, or Alex Cooper in second, could actually mount a surprise and actually fight for the victory?
Well, let's look at it this way. We have the possibility of rain at Monaco, and that always will throw up an extra little spice into the mix, and I think it's very difficult to predict anything in wet weather unless someone has been proficiently better, which we haven't seen, you know, because most of the people qualified in dry conditions more than anything. But if we go into dry weather, I think it's quite easy to see either Oscar Hardwick or Alex Cooper easily take this one. I mean, Oscar Hardwick has won multiple races this season. Alex Cooper has won twice, I think. And although I'd say, you know, good luck to Whoopkie, third on the grid is no mean feat. However, this is Monaco. Infamous for no real chances to overtake. I'm a strong...
Well, actually... You say that, but in the Formula Challenge race 1 week ago, he did go from about 35th on the grid to 6th.
However, that race saw a lot of retirements and a lot of wheel banging. That's what I'd
actually,
say.
there wasn't that many retirements.
Oh no, there wasn't that many retirements, but there was certainly a lot of carnage. I certainly saw that in the broadcast.
But he was able to be consistent. He had good pace. He didn't make too many mistakes, and he got through the field. That is what required at Monaco. Definitely, that is what is required.
Consistency is definitely the key. I completely agree with you there. But I am a staunch supporter. Well, I say supporter. I'm a staunch supporter of not having it on the F1 calendar purely because, well, it's a street circuit which isn't suited to street circuit racing. I mean, you look at other street circuits like, say, I don't know, Singapore, for example.
Montreal.
Montreal. Nice, wide tracks, which are perfectly more suited. I mean, you look at the bump, for example, on the run down to, I think it's Casino Square. It's a tight downhill bit anyway. But, it's just not a track which is suited to modern day racing, let alone Formula One. And I think that the fact that its contract on the Formula One calendar has been increased to something like 2018 is a bit silly. I get that it's the pinnacle of racing and all that, and it's lovely to go to Monaco, but there comes a point where you got to say, look, it's just not suited to this anymore.
Yeah, I've just noticed that we seem to have a few problems. A few drivers, including Hoekstra and Cedric, they have they use quali fuel in quali, and they aren't able to add fuel due to Parc Fermé rules.
Well, you know what? Oh dear, yeah, that is not good. Wait a sec. Oh no, Hoekstra qualified on race fuel.
This is really confusing now. I think Cedric might be the problem.
I think the issue is that in GPVWC, at least in the World GT and WSS series, fuel is one of the things which you are allowed to change during Parc Fermé. There's other small things like front wing splitters and whatnot, but the point is that at GPVWC in tin tops, we want you to go as fast as you can in quali. It's quite simple. If you've got the outright pace on the low fuel, then you should be up there at the top. And of course, if you compromise yourself for race fuel, then that's your issue. But that's very interesting news that Hoekstra qualified on full race fuel.
And was only 2/10 off.
And was only 2/10 off Hardwick. That's very telling. And I think that Hardwick should take note of that, because if he's that fast on full race fuel, then he might just have another issue to contend with, apart from Cooper and Carcer and anyone else who fancies. And goodness me, that was a huge crash between Cedric and Tia. I keep on wanting to say Tia, and it's Tia, and I should get my pronunciation right. But yeah, do we have another possible championship contender in the mix? We'll have to wait and see the later races, of course, but there we go. And actually, we should talk about the later races, because unfortunately, Bradley, this is our last WSS broadcast for 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? I mean, we've had some really, really good racing, some surprises. Obviously the reverse grid rule always brings up surprises. The Super Pole sessions, everything, and I think it's going to be a bit of a change now to the way some people see the actual main career ladder in GPVWC. There's going to be a lot more time for people to focus on GPVWC career ladder, such as the Super Cup, Super League, and Formula Challenge, and and I think also at the next round at Turkey in the WSS, it'd be interesting to see how people have changed in these 6 weeks. Will some people just not really do as much practice? Will people actually use the time wisely and actually practice, or will others just sort of not be bothered, or try and focus more on setups? Whatever it is, what are they going to do in the 6 weeks? And that is important, because you can't just forget about the series. You can't just ignore it, especially if you're fighting for the title.
Some may actually argue that they might go into the career ladder for the 6 weeks that we're away now, and they might think, you know what, I don't fancy doing this anymore. I want to focus on going for glory in WSS or in World GT, and I think I think this 6 week break is going to be very interesting, because after this 6 week break, we have a straight 6 consecutive not double weekends. We got basically the same format as before, where we wait a week, 2 weeks for every race, but we got 6 of them consecutively. So that's going to be very interesting. As Bradley says, we're off to Istanbul next, and I love that track. I'm so disappointed it's off the F1 calendar now. And we end at Nürburgring, so plenty of time to recharge, and with 5 minutes of the warm-up session left to go, I think now is the time to sort of get your foot down and make sure that you leave positive thoughts in your head, because obviously if you like crash or something now, it's not exactly going to leave a good taste in the mouth. But there's a lot of crashing going on in the session, Bradley, and some of the drivers are not happy with it, and the fact is there's in wet conditions as well, so perhaps anonymous sign for the race.
Well, wet conditions in quali and warm-up and practice has no relation to the weather in the race. It could be tipping it down for warm-up, and then a few minutes later in the race it could be bone dry.
I certainly hope we get a wet race, actually, though.
See, I do hope for some rain, but Monaco? Seriously?
Well, I mean, I did allude to it earlier. Of course, if you watched the WSS last year, quite a different championship, of course. There's only one race commentated on by Simon Smith, and if you haven't watched any of that season, I would highly recommend you go back and watch it. You know, it's a great sort of history lesson in WSS and how much has changed even in this year. But Monaco was particularly infamous for a huge crash in the opening laps, and I believe, if I remember correctly, it took out like half the field or something, and I believe they had to restart the race. I certainly hope I don't have that wrong. I haven't watched the series from last year in a long time, but yeah, I think that was part of the reason why we've now split up into 2 races. It kind of encourages people to be sensible and wonder about where they are, because obviously where they are will have a huge impact on where they are for next race. And remember, we still have the 15 to 20 man reversed grid for race 2, so whoever's in those lower parts of the finishing order might have a chance to get away from pole and possibly steal a surprise win here, especially if, you know, they're slow. This is Monaco, and as we've said before, hard to overtake, so you never know. I mean, I just refer back to the 2012 race in Formula 1 where Heikki Kovalainen was able to keep Jenson Button behind for practically the entire thing.
Well, I think a better example would be the 2001 race, but David Coulthard was behind Bernaldi for about 40-odd laps.
Yeah.
And even though he was stood behind the Narrows for 40-odd laps, he's managed to finish 5th.
Wow.
Yeah. What was even funny about that was that he had pole, but stalled it. He actually stalled it. He stalled it on the start of the formation lap, and then had to start at the back.
That's poor.
Yeah.
No such worries as stalling now. I mean, I haven't seen a stall in Formula 1 for years. I mean, they still do it in GP2, GP3, and I think I'll just do a shameless plug for that now. Great series to watch, GP2 and GP3. And the funny thing is that most of the time, the driving standards in GP3, which is 16 to 18-year-olds most of the time, I think the oldest person in there is 24 years old, 10 times better than GP2, and especially at the Circuit de Catalunya just last weekend.
To be fair,
oh, dearie me.
To be fair, most of the GP2 drivers are better than GP3 drivers, except for a certain Venezuelan.
Ah, yes, I think Johnny Cecotto. And actually, that's quite relevant, because Johnny Cecotto Jr. actually won a race here in GP2 last year. Yeah. And actually, to be fair, I mean, you look at Johnny Cecotto Jr., I mean, I've watched him for 2 seasons now, and, you know, there has to come a point when a race ban is around the corner, but surely this guy's merited his scores enough that he should be kicked out of the series entirely? Or do you believe in sort of giving people those fair chances? I mean, you could say, look at Romain Grosjean and how much he's improved in the past year.
I think it's absolutely stupid that, well, for a start, he purposely forced someone off the track at the previous round of Catalonia and had no penalty at all. No penalty at all. Not even a warning, not a green penalty, nothing at all. Nothing at all.
That's yet. I mean, I've been looking at news I've been looking at news constantly to try and find out what's going on with him. And if you ask me, I think they are deliberating, possibly banning him. But if nothing is done, then I absolutely agree. Something needs to be done about the stewarding.
Well, there was no sort of after-race penalty. The you know, the only penalty was given to the actual other driver that was also actually involved in the aftermath of that collision. In the end, with a grid penalty, but nothing else afterwards. Anyway, we'll be going into the race soon. There'll be 2 races. Yeah, that's right, 2 races of 20 laps. So that's about 25 distance of a normal Formula 1 race. And there is a reverse grid from between 15th and 28th positions for the second race. Formation lap between both of them. And we're now getting ready.
Bert Ozturk has left the game, and, well, Bradley, it's raining.
Oh, yes it is. Oh, good luck everybody, you're going to need it, okay?
Yes,
you know that first turn? You see that first turn, yeah? Brake at it, okay?
Brake, yes, that's the important thing, and brake early. Oh, this is going to be exciting. The first ever wet race for WSS ever, actually. Very exciting stuff. And obviously, Jack Sedgwick gives us the exact wetness, 45% wetness, so not exactly a light shower either. So, Oscar Hardwick from Milk Racing Team leads us off on pole position, closely followed by championship rival Midnight Motorsports Alex Cooper. Whoopke Hoekstra for Pulse Racing is in P3, with Jordan Weeks in P4 for FA Racing, Bart DeVos for Innovision in P5, and Tom Parker for the ever-consistent Simink team, currently in P6. Eric's bike has already crashed for Ice Cold Racing, and my goodness me, I'm hearing crashes and stuff, but yeah, what happened there?
I'm going to try and find on the replay. He's braked too late for turn 1. He's missed the apex, and he's actually had to take the runoff area to try and make sure he didn't hit the wall. But he's back anyway.
Yeah.
And what's that with Scott Sovic? One of the FA cars has been involved.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
I think it looks like there's been actually more incidents further back, so I think we'll find out more about it later on.
Either way, going back to the front, Jack Sedgwick, also for Pulse Racing, is in P8 with Paul Joseph for Royal Blue in P9. Pedro Milim, temporarily for Midnight Motorsport, is in P10. And then we have Gary Lennon for Team Rockdale. He is not taken to the tracks. Neither has David Stanton. That promotes Jason Muscat to P11 for Epic Racing. Roy Schroten then is in for Simink in P12. Paul Watkins P13 for TWR. Miles Dixon then is next for Slipstream, followed by Chris Williamson for Woods Racing. Then it's Aaron Shergill for United Racer. He's in a wood sandwich actually, as Dimitri Jamulmeister is behind him. Then we have Matt Richards for Team Roxal behind them.
Scott Sovic's got massive damage. Scott Sovic's got absolutely massive damage.
And that is absolutely right. Oh, dearie me. He had a terrible qualifying time, and that is most definitely a puncture for Scott Sovic, and yeah, well, that's a shame.
Okay, I've only found out what he's done. So I said that Eric Twight he had to go to the runoff area at turn 1 to avoid the wall. Scott Sovic should have gone to the runoff area to avoid the wall.
And he didn't.
Well, I can't see him lasting very long as he's out of the chicane. But anyway, let's get back to 21st, I believe.
Well, yeah, I think Sovic almost like start from the pit lane. But anyway, very quickly, we then got Morten Bernison, Royal Blue, Nico de Koning, Innovision,
he's damaged
Jarl
as well.
Tyen. Yeah, Jarl Tyen will round out the field for Infinity Esports Racing. So, everyone just lines themselves up. And it's a long wait for the drivers at the front, especially in these cold positions.
Usually I would predict the winner, but I think I'm actually going to predict how many cars will be out on the first lap, as Eric Twight there just lines up at the back. He was going through the back of the grid to his position 8. I'm going to say 5 cars will be out on the first lap, as the red lights will now start to go out.
There's Bradley's prediction. Here comes the red lights, and here at the Principality, we are racing, and there's a decent start by the Simink of Roy Schroten there at the back. It's a decent start by Oscar Hardwick too. Oh God, here we go.
Oh no! That's Jordan Weeks.
He's done a Grosjean. That's Jordan Weeks. That's Jordan Weeks round. Oh dearie me!
You do not
contact.
You do not know how similar that looked to the Roman Grosjean.
That was Grosjean. Yeah, exactly the
That
same.
was so Grosjean. Jordan Weeks had a really slow start, and there was just contact between him and some. I think it was him and Bart DeVos. So here he is, as he just Bart DeVos is on the inside, and Weeks just cut across him, spins in front of the pack though. Not many other drivers are affected. There's a few cars off, but nothing actual major.
Right, as we enter now the downhill section, we've got Oscar Hardwick leading from Alex Cooper. Great start from Tom Parker, currently up into P3 and right on the back of Cooper. Then we've got Hoekstra, DeVos, Eric DeVite up to 6, Roy Schroten, I told you had a good start, now to P7, Paul Joseph, P8, Paul Watkins, an amazing start by the old man in P9, and Jack Sedgwick for Pulse Racing rounds out the top 10, a great start. Also, Jason Muscat to P11, to Mulmeister up into P12. And well, that's some extremely interesting first lap action stuff as we now enter the... Oh, that was a massive crash. Oh, no, Tom Parker's round. That's Tom Parker.
And Muscat have hit the wall on a straight. Going into the bus stop chicane, they both somehow just ended up hitting the wall on the left side.
Both
got slight damage. They haven't lost any positions, though.
Let's look at the front now. This is a huge battle.
Running wide. He's in the wall. There's contact. There's a car off. That's Slipstream Racing.
Let's focus back up the front. I think there's a massive train for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. I'm hearing crashes everywhere, but I think that's best to focus on the actual battling rather than crashing. So Hoekstra back up into third now, leading from Bart DeVos. The two Simmings of Parker and Schroten consistently up there again. Eric DeVite P7, Paul Joseph P8, Jack Cedric is now P9.
Fourth we have DeVos now for Innovision.
Oh yeah, look at Tom Parker. He's gonna go around the outside. Can he make it stick? Oh, there's a bit of paint swappage there, but Tom Parker forced out to the wall. That was very close, clean racing though, and Bart DeVos is able to hold on to fourth for Innovision. But one mistake around here.
That's the Williamson has crashed in turn 1. He affected, he's affected some other cars. I couldn't tell exactly who it was. I think it was, one of the individuals involved. And Jordan Weeks is now going to go on the inside of Mulmeister here. Wow, that was a brilliant move there.
Back up at the battle for P4, P5. I think this one's getting... Oh my goodness me! Tom Parker just did the pit maneuver on Bart DeVos and smashes him out the way to go back up into P4. That was a bit naughty there. And can Roy Schroten... No, I don't think Roy Schroten can capitalise on it. And what's that? Whoopkie Hoekstra had a bit of a tank slapper on the exit there, and that's allowed Tom Parker back... Yeah, Tom Parker's back up into P3, so a little bit naughty on the first one, but a nice overtaking manoeuvre on the second as we now come down into the square. Once again, Tom Parker holding his line nicely, but very close train here for 3, 4, 5, 6, and indeed 7 as Eric DeVite has joined the party. Behind this, just as close for P8 as Paul Joseph, Cedric, and indeed Paul Watkins have come together now to try and battle away.
Sorry, I thought I saw Weeks in the wall. Almost though, I think he lost the car.
Look at the wall. Bart DeVos, look at Bart DeVos. They're going 3 wide into the penultimate corner. Eric DeVite goes to the side, and oh my goodness me, Bart DeVos just tried to slam Schroten into the wall. And Schroten's pitting. Schroten has a puncture, I believe. Though Roy Schroten down the order. I think he does, because he's just gone into the pit lane.
Well, yeah, I'm wondering that might have actually been a drive-through penalty for cutting the opening turn due to having to avoid the Weeks incident. It's possible, as there were a few cars that were having to actually go on the inside of the curb, and I think they might have gained positions. That's what I think, anyway.
It's very possible, but either way, this leaves Whoopi Hoekstra now quite oh no, he's left. Roy Schroten has left, and so that's our first retirement of the day for no particular reason, apart from, well, DeVos smashing him to the wall, I guess. Either way, DeVos is in P5 now. Whoopi Hoekstra able to pull away from him now. And Bart DeVos very much holding up Eric DeVite. And look at Paul Joseph. He started to catch onto the back of this battle as well. Jack Cedric there is behind in P8 with Paul Watkins in P9. Again, a very impressive performance in the debut here. And oh no, behind Jordan Weeks has just knocked around Jason Muscat. Oh, dearie me, that was disgusting driving, to be honest, actually. He just
Something that we haven't focused on so far is the battle for the lead, which is Hardwick and Cooper. Hardwick's been leading, but Cooper has not been losing any time to. It's been half a second since the start of the race. We just watched this replay here with Jordan Weeks. Oh yeah, that's the incident there with Jason Muscat. Oh, and Weeks now in the wall. He goes into the bus stop chicane. That's the third person I've seen do it, and he hits the wall on the inside, and he's all over the place currently. He almost hits the wall. He's got major damage on his left side, which I'm guessing is that contact there with the wall as he went into the chicane, the Nouvelle chicane. But just back up front, a few people with headlights on, which I do not understand. But yeah, back to the lead. So we have Hardwick here, only 3 tenths ahead of Alex Cooper, who has just set the fastest lap of the race, at 45.7.
It's pretty close, but nothing too much going on between those two drivers for the moment. Just looking back, Tom Parker in a clear third now. I wonder how long he'll keep that after his little incidents earlier. Hoekstra, P4, but oh no, Bart DeVos lost it! Oh Oh no, Eric Knight just crashed into him! Oh, dear me, and the door's off Hoekstra, and well, can Paul Joseph capitalise on this? I'm surprised he couldn't do much more about that. Actually, Paul Joseph seemed to have the inside line, but had to wait. And yeah, that's massive damage to the side of the boss's car, and Paul Joseph's now into P6.
Yeah, he just went slightly too wide, clipped the wall on the outside, and spun straight into Vite. Very unfortunate there for the Norwegian. But it was just such a small mistake. I was thinking on any other track, you know, would have maybe been, you know, just tapping the grass or, you know, just going a bit too wide on the curb. Here, you know, here you end up with your door off.
Norwegian?
Belgian.
Oh, Dwight, sorry. Wrong person.
Yeah, I mean that Eric Dwight was unlucky because he had nowhere to go.
Yes, he was. Exactly. Looking behind, actually, the battle for P8, 9, 10, that's quite close as well. Jack Sedgwick is just behind Paul Joseph. Now he's been able to catch up massively. Paul Watkins there has went,
everyone's been going into the wall, not only out of the tunnel, but Ali going under braking here for the Neufeld chicane.
Paul Watkins eating a huge train
here.
Not
anymore. Oh, was that Sedgwick there who lost the car?
No. That was someone else. That was Tabite.
Sorry to the audience, but it's really hard for us to distinguish cars because we have many similar-looking white default cars. Now Jordan Weeks into the back.
Yeah, Jordan. I'm not one to judge usually, but Jordan Weeks' driving is a little bit too robust for my liking at the moment. He's dearie me, and Eric.
No, that was not.
Oh, dearie me. And I tell you what, Jarl Tyen is not exactly the cleanest driver at the best of times either, and he's not one to get you angry. And Jordan.
Yeah, going into the Raskin there, it did seem like Tyen actually moved under braking into Weeks, who was actually going around the outside. So not the better driver there from those two. But either way, they're all now going. Weeks into ninth position at the fight, with Tyen in 11th. Is that Richards in 12th headers millimeter? Yes, it is. That's not too bad from Matt Richards, the Team Rockstar. This is his debut in the series?
No, it's not. He was here last week.
No, that was only Gary. Only Gary Lennon was here for Team Rockstar last week.
You're right, and where is Gary Lennon? Gary Lennon is P20, unfortunately.
Yeah, he died from the pit lane, remember, but obviously being in top 20 means he could still get the reverse grid for that second race. And being at the front is very crucial, isn't it, here?
Indeed it is, and so, retirement so far are Roy Schroen for Simic, Miles Dixon for Slipstream, Scott Sovic, we thought so. For FA Racing, he retired on lap 3, and so, the gap up at the front is still 3/10. Amazingly, Tom Parker still a clear 3rd, Whoopke Hoekstra still a clear 4th, Bart the Boss now a clear 5th. Paul Joseph, though, is not so clear of the man in P7, Jack Sedgwick, and indeed Paul Watkins is quite close there in the background as well. And if I was Paul Watkins, I would be very fearful because behind him, he's got a bit of a feisty train in the form of Jordan Weeks, Eric Tabite, and the hopefully not red-misted Jarl Tyen, who's currently in P11.
Well, he's, I don't know, might be hot-headed because he was taking a lot of the curb, accidentally or not. He's definitely being aggressive, trying to gain some time back, trying to gain some positions back, and trying to gain some more points.
Of course, the points go down.
He's in the wall!
Deary
he done it, both him and Tvite had clipped that wall. Tvite managed to save it, but Tyen had a bit of a bigger knock, and then he managed to do a 360 on the straight. Be back going, and he's only lost about a second and a half.
Yeah, thankfully no positions lost for him. I think his aggressive style not working.
And where's Richards gone? Matt Richards, who just saying you're having a good race, is now nowhere.
Oh, it's P18, just behind Morten Bernsen.
I'm trying to see where I can get it, obviously, without wasting too much time.
Me! And he's just crashed into Morten Bernsen as well and just spun around again.
Oh, I was going to say, Matt Richards, he's actually clipped the inside wall going into the tunnel, and that's just spun him around, and obviously because it's such a tight stack, it's been hard for him to rejoin.
Yeah, he hit Bernsen as well, so Team Roxal not doing too great here. Both cars out of the points. And well, this race is bringing out some of the worst in people. But, at the same time, it's bringing out some of the best in people.
Oscar got a free car battle here. That is Morten Bernsen's teammate.
Paul Joseph?
Yeah, that's the one.
Ah, yes. And actually, look at Cedric. He's a great drive out of Casino Square. Can he make it into this corner? Oh my goodness me, incredibly tight, but great respect between these two drivers so far. Paul Joseph, a very wise head, being in sim racing a 1. Oh! No! Jack Sedgwick lost it, and well, what can Paul Watkins do?
Well, I think what can you do to stop cursing people?
I don't understand, but either way, yeah, Cedric lost a lot of time there, and Paul Joseph been left off, really. A similar thing happened in Formula Challenge, actually. He was hassled for Thomas Jacobs for the majority of race 1, but simply because of the fact that he was so consistent in keeping out of everyone's way, he was able to stay in those high positions. So, either way, Jack Cedric, really under pressure now from Paul Watkins, but look at the man behind him, Jordan Weeks, on a real charge now. And these two in the white cars should be very scared. And Paul Watkins dropping right back after Jack Cedric, defending his position. Well, if I was Paul Watkins, I'd just let Jordan Weeks through at this rate after seeing what he's been doing so far. Either way, heading now into the downhill section. The rain's still coming down. It's not going to be easy. And let's have a look, see whether Jordan Weeks can do anything up on the inside. No, he can't. And look at Eric de Veit there as well. They're almost going nose to tail through this section, and Jarl Tyne there in the background as well, trying to make up lost ground. Jack Cedric has been given a bit of a lifeline, though. He's now heading off into the distance, presumably to try and catch up Paul Joseph again.
Yeah, he is doing a very good job there. He may have made mistakes, but that's the thing. You know, even though you have mistakes in this circuit, because the circuit's so slow as an average speed, if you do have a crash, it's actually usually not too damaging. Because it's such a slow speed track.
But it's either not too damaging or completely destroys your race.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah, ooh, that was one of the hell of a slide there from Eric Twice.
Yeah, it certainly was.
The back. And he's doing it again there in the swimming pool section.
I'm more worried about Jordan Weeks. He's having to brake pretty much earlier than he expects because, well, to be brutally honest, Paul Watkins is most definitely holding him up, doing it. I mean, let's put it this way, Paul Watkins is at the grand old age of 58 years old. He's one of the oldest sim racers, if not the oldest sim racer in the general circuit, we know, but he's doing a fantastic job.
Gary Lennon, 77.
He's 77, is he?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I see.
Nah, he's not.
He's not. Either way, the old man is doing a great job, and if anything, he's actually been able to pull out a little bit of a gap over Jordan Weeks this lap. Although I'm sure Jordan Weeks will probably catch up in the next few sectors or so. But if Paul Watkins is able to hold this dominance over Sector 1, and given that Monaco is so tight, who knows? I mean, we might. Well, yeah, go on.
What you were saying about Cedric, about how he was getting away, when he dropped some time, plus they're also all of them are now catching up on Paul Joseph.
They certainly are. And another battle to look out for, which is a bit higher up, is Wupke Hoekstra, who has been caught hand over fist by Bart the Boss. I think the door just got some weight off him. He's really come alive in the last couple of laps.
Oh, Hoekstra made a mistake.
Oh, well, that was parking on the curb if ever I've seen it.
Well, it wasn't purpose. He wasn't trying to defend. Oh, there's a car off in the back where I found Cedric.
What, is Cedric off? No, he's not.
Cedric actually missed a chicane. No, sorry, it wasn't Cedric. Well, it was one of the white cars. Been no position change. It might have been Cedric because he's now got away.
Either way, the lap car of Schergel has been passed, and we can focus now back on the battle between Hoekstra and De Vos. And Hoekstra's done a pretty standard job so far. He's managed to pull out a little bit, but De Vos, the man on fire at the moment, and that's Eric. Oh, something to do with that. And what's this? Oh, Paul Watkins has overtaken Jack Cedric! Unbelievable stuff by the old man. He's overtaken him on the straight.
Oh, okay.
And Paul Watkins is up into P7. I don't know if you can get a replay of that.
I'm just watching the between Jordan Weeks and Eric Fight, or I'm guessing there is. Oh, actually no, there's a car ahead. Oh no, it is. So Eric Fight goes down the inside for Raskas. Jordan Weeks then sort of turns into the corner. Doesn't notice that Eric Fight's there, and contact's made. Eric Fight's going around. And Jordan Weeks, Eric tried to end up around.
My word. Sorry to cut you off there, Paul Watkins. He's just gone ahead of Jack Cedric, but Jack Cedric right on the back of him again. And well, we saw the bottle cork effect with Watkins and Weeks just a lap ago. Now, times the trouble by 2. Jack Cedric is trying everything he can to get past the old man, but nothing doing around this circuit. With Jordan Weeks trying to look at Jarl Tyne, he's getting on the back of this action as well by the second, and oh dear me, we've got 12 more laps to go. I'm not sure how Jordan Watkins is going to do this.
Do not forget Jordan Weeks. He lost a lot of time there in the incident with Twice, but he's gained all of that time back in just half a lap.
Oh yeah, look at this. He's looking really alive, and Jack Cedric's now got to decide what is more worth it, trying to attack Watkins or trying to defend off Weeks. And he clips the wall there, actually, and I think Weeks might very well have him on the inside. This corner's going to be very tight, and Jack Cedric holds his line. Well done, sir. That was
and something which I've noticed. No, because it's been wet weather, I think that people are struggling to overtake him to the Neufeld chicane. Because if they go offline, then it's wet. And no!
Dearie me, and that was Jordan Weeks spinning Jack Cedric, and both of them are now down to P9, P10. Pedro Malim's just coming around the corner now, and yeah, well, let's see, Jack Cedric is trying to get around. What's Weeks doing?
I don't know.
Weeks is just staying in the middle of the track.
What I was saying was that because it's because it's wet offline, people are not able to go to the inside for the chicane and try and overtake. They have to look for other opportunities, like the back corner. Turn 1 is obviously quite a big place anyway. But, you've got to look for other overtaking opportunities, and that is causing a few incidents, I think.
Indeed, while we were looking at the battling... What's going on?
Who is that? That's Demoulevis to fight Cedric and Bart DeVos.
No, it's not Bart DeVos.
Fighting Cedric.
No,
Cedric are side by side going up the hill.
Yeah, it's very true. And oh my
goodness
me.
Big contact.
Well, it's all going a bit P-Tong. That wasn't Bart DeVos, by the way. That was Nico de Koninck. Bart DeVos, actually, as we say, has actually got past Whoopkie Hoekstra. He's up into P4, but everything's starting to go a little bit out of the window here at Monaco. Drivers starting to get a little bit feisty, but your current round down to the top 10, as it is Oscar Rick. Oh no, Chabite spun! Oh, dearie me, and that's allowed Nico de Koninck pass. Demoulevis has passed, Cedric is passed. Weeks is coming round again.
Williamson.
Oh, dearie me. Here comes Moscow as well. Here's Schergill. Oh, and back to the back of the field. Chabite goes. Yeah, now he can go. But anyway, yeah, round out of top 10. Oscar Hardwick still leading Cooper by about 5/10. Tom Parker's actually been reading them in at about 5/10 a lap at the moment. So he's on a bit of a charge in third position. Then we've got Bart DeVos, P3. Sorry, P4 even. Whoopkie Hoekstra, P5. Paul Joseph, P6, although he's being caught by Watkins and Tyan, actually, who's... Let's have a look at this battle now for P7 and P8. Tyan clearly the fastest driver.
Jean Tyan really hasn't actually done much. He just sort of sneaked through the field while others are crashing. Jordan Weeks, Cedric, Tyan, they've all been involved in incidents, and Tyan's just taking advantage of that.
Certainly is, and... Paul Watkins has been shown to be a capable defensive driver so far around the streets of Monaco. We'll just see what he can do now up against the like of Jarl. But rounding out the top 10 is Pedro Malim, temporary for Midnight Motorsports. Good points for them. And Dimitri Demoulevis, after all of that, is now in P10.
And about Nico de Koninck and Bart DeVos, it is really confusing because not only are they in the same car, but also, and not only are they the same nationality, but they also have sort of the same three initials because it's DE. Duh.
That's very true.
Well, sorry if we get confused, especially me, because I'm having to rely on the overlay standings.
What I'd say is keep an eye on... Well, the dirt up front is DeVos.
Yep.
The dirt in the midfield is de Koninck. Simples.
Yeah, so there's Jartin then looking for a move into the Neufeld chicane, and look, he's going offline under braking. And
goodness me! Yeah, really
you can
struggling.
see the car wobbling so much there as he, broke down under the hill. We see it in F1 and other sports around this circuit where trying to even brake for that corner just on a normal racing line in dry conditions is hard enough because of the bumpy...
Oh no, he's lost it! He's lost it! Oh dear me, and he clipped the curb.
Right, well luckily though he hasn't done a GPVWC Super League rejoin that we saw a few years ago.
Thankfully, well, he's actually rejoined in P8. Oh, there's a bit of a battle going on for P11, P12, and I don't know what happened there, but Dimitri Demoulevis is now down to P12, and that's allowed Nico de Koninck for Innovision up into the top 10.
So going under braking then for... Where is this? Oh, he's clipped the wall at the exit of the chicane. The wall on the left side, and he spun the car around. He did a 360, but he only lost 2 positions and only lost about 5 or 6 seconds. But he now may even lose another one. And Jordan Weeks is now... Oh, what's happened to Cooper? Sorry, what's happened to Cooper in second position?
Yeah, I've noticed that. He's fallen back tons, and actually while we're talking about this, Tom Parker has caught up lows, now within 3 seconds of the lead. And I think this isn't actually Cooper I mean, you can check back as long as you want, but I think Cooper didn't make a mistake. The tyres are just gone. These two have been pushing all race long, staying within
he has
5
made a
tenths of
mistake.
each
He's
other.
actually made a big mistake. He was actually, and as I said, he went off the line going under braking for the chicane. He lost the car, and then going into the corner, he just clipped that inside wall and spun the car. So that's why he lost the time, even though he's actually not that far ahead behind Hardwick. I think Hardwick has made a mistake.
Oh, my goodness me. Cooper sliding on exit there at the penultimate corner. Things really closing up closing up now, and I think Tom Parker is a real good shout of possibly advancing up the podium position. By the way, more retirements coming in. We are now up to 7. Roy Schroten, Miles Dixon, Scott Sobick, the Team Rockstar boys of Lennon and Richards, not Aaron Shergill, sorry, Eric DeVite of Pulse, and Morton Bernardson of Royal Blue. Oh no, not Eric DeVite of Pulse, sorry, he's with Ice Cold.
Yeah, I just noticed that Yartina actually tapped the wall at the exit of the back corner. He doesn't seem to have any major damage.
Oh my goodness, he's four-wheel drifting around the penultimate corner though.
Yeah, no real battles further back except for about 8th position. Paul Jervis and Watkins are less than a second apart.
They are. I think this might be one to watch out for, actually.
That's Nico Dekonikov.
Oh, he is. And Dimitri Demilmis is back up to P11. Jack Cedric back up into P10. So,
how many people are even on the track currently? Because surely there's less than 20.
Yeah, no, there's 17 left.
Oh, so really, if you finish, you will be near the front of the grid.
Oh, and look at Demilmis aggressively cutting off 2 weeks and.
Look at Demilmis there, aggressively missing the corner, having to take a run off, and then losing the position to Jordan Weeks.
Yeah, P12. Well, I mean, these 4 positions, P10, 11, 12, and 13, it seems to be whoever makes the mistake will let you have the position. Just having a look up the field. Oh dear. Where's the all from?
I was going to say that Parker had hit the wall in the swimming pool chicane.
No,
behind Cooper.
Nope, they're all still together. In fact,
but Parker did hit the wall. Parker hit the wall quite heavily in the swimming pool chicane, just in between the 2 chicanes.
Let's just have a look at the gap now. Right,
2 seconds.
2 seconds, the gap between first and third.
I think Cooper's much faster than Hardwick. When he was behind Hardwick, he was the same pace. He then dropped back, and then he was about 2 seconds, as I think Hardwick made a mistake. But he's now got it back down to 0.7. Either way, he has caught him up, and look at that, he's taken a much direct and tighter line there in the Casino Square complex.
I think this is the closest battle on track, which is for major positions at the moment. So let's keep with this. It's going to be very interesting to see what the sector's times are like. And indeed, now the gap between first and third, 1.3 seconds. Tom Parker closing in, and one must wonder if he's just planning on keeping a watching brief. There's still 6. Oh my goodness me, going nose to tail into that section. 6-7 laps left of this race. In fact, I think it's just 6 laps left even. And this is extremely close. This is all 3 podium places. All 3 championship rivals here battling for position as we have another retirement in the form of Aaron Shergill.
So yeah, as I said, if you finish, you will be on the reverse grid, even though there'll probably be like one unlucky person.
I have got a bit of news here. From Dave Carr-Smith having in here today, Oscar Hardwick is low on fuel.
Ooh.
And so this could be tight. Oscar Hardwick clearly short shifting.
Well,
hence why he's so slow.
If it is critical, he could actually pit, do a very short stop. Only take a few seconds in the pit lane, and he would end up probably still finishing 3rd position. Which is obviously better than retiring or having to do a much later pit stop or making mistakes or even actually losing tons of time trying to fuel save and then actually finding out it's not even worth it.
That's a very good point. The gap between 1st and 4th at the moment, but the loss is 22 seconds. I fear a fuel stop is going to take a bit more than that, so I believe he'll come out more in the midfield.
Well, yes, but I think he is faster than DeVos and he could push a bit harder and then gain the position back.
God, look at this battle now. It's really...
Oh, that's Deconic, and that is not a good place to be going slow. Okay, I don't think he really had much choice, but just a bit unfortunate there. For the 3 drivers going for the frame.
Deconic down in P15, so still in the points, and in fact, there are now only 16 cars running, so poor old David Stanton in P16 is the only man not scoring points at the moment. As, oh my goodness me, Tom Parker trying to use the pavement to get through on Alex Cooper here. The Simic driver really trying everything to get past the midline driver, and consistency has been one of Tom Parker's traits here. Constant podiums, constant top 5 finishes, and that's why he's a championship contender at the moment. And another top 3 finish here would certainly cement his chances of sticking in the championship, very much doing an Alonso of 2012 at the moment. But he's got to be careful, and he's got to think, what's happening up front? Oscar Hardwick is slower. Can Alex Cooper get past him? Can I capitalise on that also?
If you regard Parker and Cooper as the same team, even though they are part of the same group, then it'd probably be better for Cooper at least just to try and for Cooper to actually stay ahead of Parker, and for Parker not to challenge him. Obviously, you want to push him to try and make him go quicker, overtake Hardwick, or maybe even actually try and pressurise Hardwick a bit more to try and force him into a mistake. You want to get the best for Cooper if possible, as Cooper is the one vying for the championship, not Tom Parker.
Laps left, and it's still these 3 up front.
Well, just under 5 actually.
Under 5, sorry. Just having to look back at where everyone else is. Ooh, Whoopke Hoekstra has lost a ton of time currently, and looking back, within 3 seconds of him is both Paul Joseph and Paul Watkins, P6 and P7.
Oh.
I'm not sure where Hoekstra's lost all the time, but
I think that's just pace.
And actually, look at Paul Watkins. He's getting right up onto the back of Paul Joseph, actually, as well. So there might still be a bit of battling still to go there. But yeah, I think, okay, although it'd be nice to have a look at the lower positions, I think the battle up at the front is definitely the thing. Which is, I mean, I do love to see battles at the back, and I think everyone else in recent weeks actually been saying, why can't we have a look at battles at the back? But this is all 3 podium finishers at present battling for position, and with the rain coming down heavier and heavier, some might say it's only a matter of time until someone makes a mistake, and Alex Cooper definitely looking the best of the 3 drivers at the moment. Oh, Tom Parker's made a mistake! Oh, and back he goes. I mean, thankfully there's enough of a safety net behind him so that he remains in 3rd, but that is a huge relief off Alex Cooper's shoulders.
Yeah, he just clipped the curb a bit, and then and then he just put the power down a bit too early on the exit as well. Even though I think he will catch up the top 2 very quickly back on. He caught them very quickly on earlier, and as as Hardwick is reported to be saving on fuel, he should get back pretty quickly. Thing is about Hardwick saving fuel, because this is such a tight and hard to overtake circuit, he'll probably be short shifting and trying to save his fuel in the tighter corners like the swimming pool section, Mirabeau, the hairpin. But on the main straight and up the hill, he will definitely be pushing.
So lap 17 of 20 here in the first race at Monaco, and Hardwick still leads from Cooper, but barely. And it's all a matter of, well, can Cooper find a way through? I think he's going to have to rely on Hardwick making some form of a mistake as we go into the downhill section once again. Cooper getting as close as he can, and Hardwick's pretty much just parking it on every apex he can find, but you're entitled to do that around here. It's a tight circuit. Hardwick making his car as wide as possible, of course. An entanglement between these two would still see Tom Parker benefit massively. Only 2.6 seconds behind still, but Oscar Hardwick doing a decent job trying to hold off Cooper for the moment. The rest of your top 10 are Bartlemos in 4th, Whoopke Hoekstra 5th, Paul Joseph 6th, Paul Watkins 7th, Jarl Tyen 8th, Pedram Lim 9th, and Jordan Weeks is now back up into the top 10, though a minute behind.
And yeah, as I predicted, Parker is now closing up to Cooper, but he kind of taps the wall in the swimming pool chicane. Shouldn't really harm him too much. It was only a slight tap, and he also been very aggressive on the curves, I've noticed. Either way, Hardwick's also getting very loose in the Raskas corner. I don't know if that's actually a tactic or due to the wet weather, but it does seem to be helping him get a good exit, as he seems to actually position his car well there for the exit going to Antonio's corner. I've noticed that from quite a few drivers actually, but especially Hardwick, and it is allowing him to pull away onto the main straight.
It's one of the things about Monaco, isn't it? I mean, it's tight stuff, but if you're able to find one sector which you absolutely nail, then to some extent, the rest of the lap seems a bit easy because you only have to pull out, say, a 5/10 to a second gap, and you can pretty much defend the rest of the track. It's when someone behind you is faster in all three sectors where things start to get a bit hairy. And also, well, Alex Cooper doesn't seem to be fast in the tail end of Sector 3 / the first part of Sector 1 of the lap. And this is what's allowed Hardwick to remain ahead. The gap now of 5/10.
We got a 3-car battle here for 5th position between Hoekstra, Paul Joseph and Watkins here. Very close. Look at so I've noticed that Joseph actually goes over that bump there going into Mirabeau, but not anyone else.
Oh my word.
Hoekstra losing a lot of time as they go into the hairpin. There, look at this.
Was that bad position? Look up at the front. Look up at the front. Alex Cooper is on the inside of Oscar Hardwick. The two of them are side by side, going into, oh my goodness me, the swimming pool area there. Oh my goodness me, Oscar Hardwick just saying, and look at Tom Parker trying to go on the inside there. This is absolutely nuts. It's all starting to kick off now in the final 2 laps of the game. Oh dearie me, Parker rear-ending Cooper there. Thankfully nothing too harmful done. But dearie me, that was really close to Cooper taking the lead.
Yeah, Parker was getting good. Parker got a really good run out of the final corner there. Was much tighter to the apex than the 2 cars ahead of him. And that's the thing. I think if Cooper can just get a good run out of the final corner on either this lap or the next possibly, that'll be it. Gonna be tough, but that's the only really way I can see him overtaking Hardwick here.
Lap 19 of 20, and Cooper and Parker are starting to get impatient now. They know they can lead this race and pull away from Hardwick, but Hardwick is not having any of it. We think he's leader of the championship at the moment. He's going to want to extend that even further here today, going now into the downhill section. Nice and slowly for Hardwick, but Cooper and Parker, the gap between first and third, 6/10 at the moment, and they are pretty much going nose to tail down this downhill section. It always does get a bit concertinaed up, but not as much as this that we've seen in any race so far here at Monaco. When we look at the leaders up at the front going through the tunnel section down, now going into the braking zone of the Nouvelle Chicane. This is where Hardwick had issues before. This is where Cooper was able to catch up. This is where Parker was able to catch up, though Hardwick seems to be taking that nicely. Cooper took a lot of curb there actually, and Hardwick seems to be quite, indeed he is, he's actually about 4/10 ahead of Cooper now on this lap, and there's not much time to do anything. We've only got one more lap after this, and Hardwick seems to possibly have this in control.
Well, yeah, as things about Monaco, if you're leading, you're in control, and it's like that at any race, at any time at Monaco. Oh, that's very wide there from Cooper, and yeah, he's not able to get anywhere near Hardwick going into turn 1 on this final lap. And there is the final lap starting now. Lap 19 of lap 20 completed.
Oh my goodness me, what's happened to Hoekstra? Hoekstra's had a bit of an issue up at the front, and he's allowed Paul Joseph and Paul Watkins, or has he? Yes, he has. He's left both Paul Joseph and Watkins through instead of battle for the midfield positions there still to be decided. But let's look back up at the front. Hardwick seems to be holding off nicely, and I think the battle now for the podium positions is going to be between Cooper and Parker. Parker on a real charge here in these final few laps here at the Principality. Although still a lot could change. I mean, it's so easy just to make a mistake, as I think that's Wupke Hoekstra. No, Wupke Hoekstra's fine. That's Jordan Weeks actually going out the top 10. Demilmees is up into the top 10.
All right.
And yeah, everything as it is. Focusing now back on the battle for the front. Hardwick still leading from Cooper, and it seems to me that only a mistake of some kind from one of these drivers will seriously affect any battling which is going to go on, going to the Nouvelle Chicane. Goodness me, Hardwick cut that close. He's really struggling as the Milk Racing driver, but he, at the same time, it just seems so under control. He's using as much of the dry line as he can, and one of them is starting to appear actually on the circuit. He's using the dry line of lap traffic in front of him to get around and just entering the swimming pool section. If Cooper's going to do something, he's got to do it now. He's right on the back of Hardwick. He goes wide. He cuts back. And can he get it up on the inside? No!
Got a good run. He's got a really good run. As I said, if he just gets a good run, he might get it.
No, there's nothing doing. Nothing doing. And so
Oscar
Hardwick It was very close. In fact, it was only 0.3 of a second, but nevertheless, Oscar Hardwick from Milk Racing Team wins it from pole from Alex Cooper and Tom Parker. Rounds out the top 3. Great racing from these 3 all race. Coming home in 4th, the very lonely 4th actually, is Bart the Boss. It appears the loss of a door actually helped him.
Paul Joseph is going to get a really good 5th here, but Will Watkins sneak it from him.
Oh my goodness me, Watkins is on a right charge, and considering this is his first race in this series, absolutely brilliant stuff. Can he try and look down the inside of Joseph into the final 2 corners? No, I don't think he can. No, so, Paul Joseph.
Oh, is this Pedro Malim and Tian? It is as well.
It is.
As well.
Paul Joseph comes home 5th. Paul Watkins, impressive on debut, comes home 6th. Woofky Hoekstra had a bit of an issue, but came home 7th.
Got him. Melim's taken on.
Oh no, he spun.
Oh my god.
Oh. Well, that's a shame. Oh, sorry, I think we're both suffering from bad jokes here.
Jordan Weeks, who was much faster than Demoulimis, is catching him up as well. So maybe we'll see more final corner antics.
Yeah,
looks like we will as well.
He's gonna try and make it around the outside of Demoulimis.
Or get a better run. We've got a much better run.
Much better run. Can he get into the final corner? Oh, it's very tight and oh, dearie me.
He's letting him past.
Well, that's the best amount of gentlemanly driving I've seen from Weeks this race, so good on him for letting Demoulimis take 10th.
Oh, we have more. 11th. We have more. We have Chris Williamson here and Jason Muscat.
Oh my goodness me.
We had 4 battles going into Raskas in the end of this race.
Yeah, Jason Muscat will, or Willie actually, I think. No, Jason, oh my goodness me, it's going to be close. No, Jason Muscat does take 13th from Chris Williamson. 14th, David Stanton from Vod Bull is the last man to take home the points.
Nico DeConnick is 16th, and yeah.
Well, let's actually go for who is the participants for pole position next time around. Well, that is Stanton, Conning, Vernonson, Shergill, Tveit, and Richards. So can the people who retire that be counted for? Yes, they can, because they still, well, they classify in that position. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my random number generator. I'm just going to let everyone load into the game for me before I do anything.
And when he means random number generator, I believe he means random.org.
But random.org is a lovely site for generating random numbers. It's, you know, the way of life. So, here we go. 15 to 20 I've just received. Magic number. Right, so, here we go. Random number is number 20. And so, that means that Mr. Matt Richards is on pole despite retiring from the race.
Ooh. So that's everybody who finished in the top 20 being reversed, so that means that Oscar Hardwick will start in 20th position. And that's almost the whole field as well. That's we currently have 22 drivers. And so 20 of them are being mixed up for this second race.
Interesting news is that Tveit is on the front row. And he was
alongside Matt Richards.
Alongside Matt Richards, and so I think that's going to be very interesting to see whether he can hold it on for all 20 laps, because he was certainly looking racy in the earlier parts of race 1, but as for the other drivers, not exactly the fastest in the field. Aaron Shergill, Morten Vernonson, Nico DeConning, David Stanton. I think the only ones who were in the top 10 that entire race were DeConning and Vernonson, so definitely going to be interesting to see how the slower cars affect the racing here for race 2.
The thing is, Matt Richards is quite quick. He defended very well at the Formula Challenge race a week ago until he made a mistake. But he was defending against some top class racers and doing a very good job of it. So maybe he'll do a bit better at maybe he can do even better at pole. However, he's actually saying that he doesn't want to start on pole, so I don't think he doesn't have much self confidence, does he?
No, the Six Axis teammate Cameron Brewster will certainly sympathise with him on that one. I think it's quite scary being on pole position, especially given that this is Matt Richards' debut in the series. I think pole position is certainly a big jump from, say, the midfield. And Jack Sedgwick doesn't certainly get much hope either. And I certainly don't hope. Well, I certainly hope we don't have another Grosjean incident like we had in race 1. I mean, I can't. It's uncanny how like the 2012 Monaco start that was.
The only thing that was different is the fact that it happened on the inside instead of the outside.
And it was Porsches.
And it was Porsches. And it didn't involve real people.
And it involved real people just playing our factor. Let's get this straight. Right, so.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Sedgwick just managed to lose this, I say, full throttle corner. A supposed dry part of the track being the tunnel. Obviously, R factor is really, really good physics, and actually doesn't have rain in the tunnel. Oh wait, yeah, it has rain in the tunnel, which was the reason why he lost control there.
Oh yeah, this is Well, we had rain in race 1. If we have rain in race 2, that's just going to make things even more interesting. And I mean, I think I saw we saw the front row finish in the first 2 positions last race, despite the rain. Yeah, we saw Tom Parker. I think he was 6th on the grid. He managed to make up those 3 positions at the start and benefited from it hugely. I can't tell what's going to happen in this race because everyone, well, let's put it this way: the top 4 on the grid all retired last race. So who knows? As I said, I think the ones to look out for this race for sure are Matt Richards, Eric de Veit, and Nico de Koninck. Possibly Morten Vernonsen in there as well. All 4 of those drivers have pace on their day, but there's drivers behind him that are much faster and are much more aggressive than those lot.
Well, I think we just have to wait and see. Now, do you want whether do you want to drive with? I think for this one, I think drive with will be a bit more appropriate.
I definitely will.
More appropriate.
Got rain here in free practice again, and that would only. Well, I say that would only mean have rain in race 2, but we have seen cases. Of course, at Catalonia last time out, free practice before race 1 had rain, and then we had a dry race, so it's not entirely out of the park. But I do wonder what a dry race will bring. I mean, obviously, people will be more comfortable under braking and the nouveau chicane, and that might see a bit more overtaking. But most of the overtaking going on last race was simply because of other people making mistakes. And actually, Wolfgang Hoekstra quite poignantly is saying people only passed me because I make mistakes. I could have finished 4th without those, and I think he's absolutely right on that one. He was riding very comfortably in 4th before his massive mistake that saw Joseph and Watkins get past him.
Yeah, we're just watching all the drivers just drift their way around this track.
Trying to see whether any of the top 5 are out on track. Where's the bike gone? I don't think the bike's in the game, actually. Can't see him here.
No, he isn't.
What about Aaron Shergill? Is Shergill in the room?
The one thing I'm thinking, though, does that affect the people who will be reversed?
Not well. It affects it to the point that the guy behind, so let's see, Tveit is P2.
Oh yeah, okay.
So basically, Vernonsen will have an open grid slot ahead of him, and actually at Monaco, I think an open grid slot ahead of you would not be such a bad thing at all, because you've not got any cars to worry about ahead of you.
Well, I think we'll find out soon enough. We just have 4 more minutes of warm-up. I really don't think warm-up should be this long, because just nothing happens.
I think you'd be surprised how grateful drivers are for a long warm-up. I can certainly vouch for that in my touring car expeditions. You know, especially if you've had, a decent race 1, and especially with this reverse grid. Actually, a lot of drivers take free practice as an opportunity to perfect their starts, and especially in wet weather.
However, some people will just take warm-up as a chance to crash and mess around.
Well, it's a chance to push limits, isn't it? It's essentially...
it's a chance to purposely hit people and mess about.
No, it's a chance to explore limits, Bradley. Have a positive spin on it. I mean, actually, I've just had a look at Aaron Shergill. He's been trying to wring the neck of his United Races car and it's actually gone wide at the penultimate corner. But there's a real use for free practice, and I think 10 minutes is a suitable amount because it means that people can practice their starts, it means that people can push to the limit, and if you want to say it means that people can crash, then it means that people can crash. Gets the mistakes out of the system. So, with 3 minutes to go, I think, was there any standout new driver for you in race 1, Bradders? Because obviously we had quite a few new entrants or debutants here for race 1, and there were certainly some that really shone. I mean, I would like to say big shout out to Paul Watkins. I mean, P6 was it on his debut, considering that he was starting P14, I believe it was. Really impressive effort from the old man.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that a bit of consistency goes a long way, especially in these conditions, this track, these cars, this league, everything. We saw last time out that there were too many drivers making mistakes, and it was costing some people very good finishing positions. Instead of finishing in the top 5, they were finishing about 15th, and it is disappointing to see so many mistakes at times. Obviously, it creates drama, but you want good racing. You don't want to see you want to see good racing, not good crashing.
No, that's the thing. That's a very good point. It's good to see it. Well, it's nice for the spectators to see a crash every now and then, but if it's a stupid crash, that's when issues start to arrive. If it's a crash that's completely out of control, it's a crash that's unfortunately completely out of your control, and hopefully we won't have any of those for race 2, as the drivers have now got about a minute and a half. Focus their minds, prepare for the last time of racing around here, and I'm sure for many of these drivers that'll be an absolute godsend. I mean, this track's difficult at the best of times, and in rain I'm sure that none of these drivers will be liking the condition. But they've got a 6-week break after this, so I guess they can relax.
Almost like taking it out of your system for the next 6 weeks. Push really hard here, and feel on top of the world for the next 6 weeks. Right?
It's Istanbul as well, and that's a lovely track. And sunny weather, hopefully. Dear me, Aaron Shergill just clouds the final wall again.
So, who do you think will come out on top after these 20 laps?
Fight.
I'm going to say... I'm going to say Oscar Hardwick.
From P20.
Yeah. The reason is... I think is that Parker, Cooper and Hardwick were much faster than everyone else. So they should be able to get through the field. And also they are much more consistent than everyone else. And then it's just going to be a case of one of those three.
All I'm going to say is Paul Watkins and defensive driving. Not the fastest driver in the field by miles, but because of his consistency, because of his defensive driving, he was in the top 6 and he was able to keep the likes of Jordan Weeks behind him. So,
okay.
Either way, Roy Schroten has just left the game. And I do wonder whether he fancies taking part in race 2, because at the moment, well, I mean, he had an awful race 1. In fact, he lasted 1 lap before he decided to retire. So, maybe things have just gotten to him. I don't know. He's had something of a mixed season. Some weekends he's absolutely on fire. Other weekends he's not exactly on fire. Makes those mistakes. And whether he got caught up in something which completely wasn't his fault, or whether he did, I think this is one of those weekends to forget.
Well, yeah, because he's had some very good races recently, very consistent, and then it's just all gone down the pan.
It's a shame. In fact, he retired.
So then we're just going to the race. Let's see if it will be rain. Dun dun dun.
I think we are waiting for Roy to get back, actually, because we are waiting in an extremely long time before. Yeah, we are waiting for Roy. Okay, so we will wait for Roy to return. And then we should go to the grid. I mean, apologies for not giving any standings by the end of this. I mean, I presume that since Oscar Hardwick won, he's merely extending his lead. Pardon me, at the top. And so I think by merit of that, I don't think there should be any new leader by the end of this race, but you never know. Oscar Hardwick could be higher.
Hoekstra wants the race to be dry, so he's definitely quicker in dry conditions than wet conditions.
Hashtag vote dry. Get it trending on Twitter, people.
Okay, I'll start now.
Tweet at GPVWC, hashtag vote dry. Yardian says voted yes. Chris Williamson vote monsoon. We had monsoon conditions at Spa actually for the World GT race. That was fun. I think there was like a third of the field.
Yeah, it definitely sounded like fun. Even though I remember the first corner. Well, people thought that the track goes the other way round. There was that many spinners.
It was strange. The first corner itself wasn't that bad.
It was the exit.
It was the exit of the corner which was bad. But yeah, I think a third of the field retired at Spa. That was funny. Whoopkie Hoekstra, hashtag kick Chris Williamson. Dear me, I think there comes a time when waiting for someone gets a little bit overboard, and I'm wondering how much longer we will wait for Roy. Obviously, one of Dave's drivers in another. No, he's part of the swimming group. Either way, I do apologise for the delay. Matt Richards, I don't think he's. Cedric votes not Monaco. You know what, Jack? I actually agree with you on that one. I don't like it as a track, but it produces decent. I think we should replace.
Oh, actually, no. Schroeton does seem to be coming back within the next minute.
Oh, that's good. Okay, right. So we should be with race 2 in the next minute. We do apologise for the delay. Yeah, Dave Cosmos just clarifying that he'll be back in the next minute or so. And you know what, Bradley? You've been pressuring me for a winner. I'm going to pressure you. Who do you think is going to come out on top here in race 2?
Oscar Hardwick.
Oh,
I said about 5 minutes
ago.
ago.
You know what? I wanted you to say it again.
Oscar Hardwick.
Oscar Hardwick. Cool. You know what? Say it again.
I think you just forgot.
No, I think I possibly forgot as well.
Yeah, I said a certain Hardwick. Okay.
Anyway, right, yeah, it's at times like this when I really wish I could just, get out my endurance broadcast games, such as guess what James is having for dinner, but here we go, no need for that. Roy Schroeton is back.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
The R Factor man is back, and
it's dry! It's dry! It's actually dry!
Bradley Vanian there, getting a little bit overexcited for the dry weather. This is certainly going to actually change things up, because as I said, people are going to be much more confident, I presume, into the Nouveau Chicane. Hopefully, we'll have more overtaking, which would be absolutely lovely. And I'm sure a lot of the drivers here are going to certainly be happy. Chris Williamson, probably not one of them, given that he wanted monsoon conditions, but this is what we have. We had our first wet race of the season. Now we're going to have another dry one with Matt Richards. Oh my goodness me. Team Roxal almost crashing into the wall from pole position. Second is Aaron Shergill. So actually Eric Light has not returned to the game. He has not returned to the game. So Eric Shergill does indeed inherit P2 for United Racers, with Nico de Koning for Innovision in P3. David Stanton for Vodbull P4, Chris Williamson for Woods in P5, Jason Muscat for Epic Racing in P6, Jack Cedric for Pulse Racing in P7, Jordan Weeks, or watch out for Jordan Weeks, he's in P8 for FA Racing actually, Dimitri Demulmisa is P9 for Woods, and Pedro Malim rounds out the top 10 in Midnight Motorsport. Then we have Yarltin for Infinity, Whoopkie Hoekstra for Pulse, Paul Watkins for TWR, Paul Joseph for Royal Blue, and Bart DeVos will round out the top. Oh, no, he won't, sorry. Bart DeVos has not left the pit garage, and we have rain on the pit straight, Bradley.
Oh, dear.
So
there's a car off. There's a car off. Someone's retired.
Who?
That's Cooper. No, sorry, Parker. Parker's out. Parker has had an incident on the formation lap.
Parker's fine. Tom Parker's going. Tom Parker's in the garage. No, Tom Parker's going through the tunnel as we speak.
Oh, I think he escaped and then put wet tires. I don't know, but
Roy Schroten's at the edge of the pit lane.
Oh, sorry, it's Roy Schroten. I think.
Oscar Hardwick's in the pit lane as well.
I think they're putting wet tires on. I think Schroten and Hardwick have put wet tires on. I really thought it was Parker because he was so far back on the grid.
Interesting.
Anyone else?
Bart DeVos has come out on wet tires as well. Tom Parker though. Okay, so Tom Parker's
through the grid anyway.
Yeah, Tom Parker's next. Then Alex Cooper, Oscar Hardwick, as we say, starting from the pit lane. Gary Lennon is after Cooper. Then we have Sovic and Miles Dixon will be last on the grid as we have Roy Schroten, Oscar Hardwick and Bart DeVos all electing to start from the pit lane on wet tyres. Well. We thought we were going to have another dry race.
And
not so.
Rain.
The rain has come. And this is going to... Well, I wonder what is going to happen. Have those three drivers made a terrible mistake because there's no more rain on the pit straight? Well, it's intermittent. Let's put it that way. And well, 20 more laps of Monaco. What is going to happen? Quite frankly, we don't know. The lights go on, the engine revs rise, and here at Monaco for the second time this evening, we are racing. And it's a decent start from everybody. Look at Jason Muscat there on the outside, trying to get past everyone. And is there contact going to turn on? Actually, you know what?
It's quite clean.
It's reasonably clean. And actually, as I say that, Pedro Malim crashing. Actually, you know what? You know what? Not bad. Bit of paint scratching, but not bad at all. Matt Richards still... Well, Matt Richards got quite a nice lead, actually. Aaron Shergill... Oh, is that a bit of... No, there's contact back there. Aaron Shergill still in P2. Pretty good. David Stanton up into P3. Good start by Jason Muscat. Actually, he's looking on the inside of David Stanton already in the Epic Racing car. Can he do much into... Oh, I think Jason Muscat is looking very... racing.
Oh,
he got Deconic's round!
Oh, dear. There's two collisions there. There was one in front involving Deconic.
Yep.
And there was also one further back involving Tian. So, just both two cases of contact sort of in the middle and at the exit of the hairpin. No, not much problem time-wise though.
Oh, and dear me, Aaron Shergill's completely outbraked himself on the chicane. Oh, dearie me, that was a very haphazard. And that's who's that round? That's Williamson round there in the background. People trying to get past him.
I saw Thunder.
Aaron Shergill is struggling hugely.
One of the Wood racing cars got stranded on the thing.
That was Williamson.
Oh, what's happened to Parker?
Parker's P13.
I think he's an...
oh my goodness me, Parker's actually... Oh, Schroten.
Wait,
he's starting from the pit lane.
No, one of them, I think, has just lost connection.
Yes, okay, Schroten's lost connection, so... Yeah, another retirement, unfortunately,
so we wait 5 minutes for him, then he loses connection.
Yeah, Roy Schroten is out. First retirement of the race. But either way, Aaron Shergill's been gobbled up by the field now as Matt Richards leading by 6/10 from David Stanton. But watch out, Jason Muscat is in the Epic Racing car behind him. Whoopke Hoekstra, holy moly, he's up to P4!
Oh, we almost lost P4 there. He was very loose.
Holy, how did he
do he's going to go P3! P3, and Muscat in the wall. Oh, he squeezed him.
My word, that was... tried to sandwich him between himself and the wall. And
I actually think that was a bit accidental because there's a slight...
Oh, look at who's looking on the inside! He's looking on the inside of him, and can he get it around the outside? No, well defended by Muscat, but can he still hold on around the outside? Still, this is really, really good racing between the Epic Racing and the Pulse Racing driver, but no, still, Hoekstra, I'm just trying to realise how Hoekstra had such a good start.
Yeah, I was going to say, because there's a slight bump on the straight, I think that was the reason for Muscat's go across the straight. David Stanton in second position, and this is Shergill. As a millimeter, DeVos. Oh no, wait, DeVos? Yeah, DeVos.
No, it's Shergill. Shergill, Demumeister, DeConnick, Cedric is in there, Tyan is behind there as well. Paul Watkins up to P10.
Not anymore, yep. Oh no, he's lost. What?
No, I think he had a collision with the wall.
He didn't make any contact. He just slowed up. Yeah. Just slowed up.
Fair enough. Okay, so in that case, it is Jack Cedric, then Paul Watkins, John Weeks rounds out the top 10. And goodness me, it's really close racing here. Oh my goodness me, John Weeks bullying his way through on Paul Watkins, and I believe that Jarl Tyne is not actually there to make any difference. But look up the front. What's happened there? David Stanton has lost out hugely, And, well, that is Jason Muscat up into second. Whoopty Hoekstra up into third. There's massive battle going on behind Shergill, though. Cedric, DeConning, Weeks is in there as well.
I'm going onto the straights. That right on the wall on the right that Tyne hit earlier. He's done exactly the same. He did a 360 but got it going.
Oh my goodness me, Y'all Tyne has made, well my goodness me, he made a mistake going round sector 1.
Oh, been hit,
oh dear me, and that was, yeah, well, Parker was pretty much...
And
oh, what is he doing? Wow. And that's Paul Joseph, Miles Dixon in there. Wow, well, yeah, let's not judge, I mean, but, yeah.
And just,
debatable. That was debatable, and he's just sticking it there now. I'm wondering whether he's going to retire sooner or later. Okay, well, he's had a bit of a blare out there.
Sorry,
yeah, 6 and 7.
Jordan Weeks. That's Jordan Weeks here fighting with
It's okay. It's Weeks, Cedric, Shergill.
There we go.
Nico DeConnick in there as well. Watkins and Parker. Whoa! Oh my word! Parker was like a little rocket ship going through there. You got the 2 Midnights there as well. And this is all for the bottom of the P10 positions. It's absolute madness. I can't see what's going on. Shergill though, he's still in P9. Amazing answers. Oh my word! The 2 Midnights collide. It's all going absolutely P-tong. As we enter, God, it's only lap 4 of 20. Shergill going very defensive on Parker into turn 1.
Hasn't
Nothing
worked.
doing, no, it hasn't worked at all. Parker should be up the inside quite comfortably here, I'd think. Yes, he is indeed. So good move there from Parker, and I believe, Shergill might get done by Paul Watkins here as well. Oh no, actually, look, Alex Cooper got around the outside. Oh my word! Bit of contact there, and Watkins is able to hold the position, so good stuff there. And yeah, absolutely manic racing in these opening few laps.
Just looking further up, and Muscat and Hoekstra are fighting for second position. So Hoekstra, who had a really good start, is now fighting for second position.
Certainly is. Really good stuff from Whoopke. Really, really impressed, actually, by the... I believe he's not Danish, he's Dutch, isn't he? Yes, so, yeah, really good start, actually. Really good driving from Hoekstra, and he's on the podium. All you got to do is keep it in a straight line, and he should be able to say that until the rest of the race.
Well, if you keep it in a straight line here, then you'll crash out at the corners.
Very true. Very true. That's very true.
This isn't a drag strip.
No, let's put it. Okay. David Sandon cuts the chicane. Yeah. As long as he keeps it on track is what I'm trying to say. And actually, he's trying to look around the out. Yeah, he's trying to look around the outside. He's trying to get a good run on Muscat. But impressive stuff from Muscat so far. P2 for Epic Racing, and I believe I think he got near the podium last race as well. So really good showing. Really taking advantage of these reverse grids, which is exactly what you're supposed to do.
Oh, heavy curve in there from Rookie. Going up the hill. He's getting a tiny bit of a slipstream, but he can't go too much because of the sort of bending straight.
Really hassling the back of him, isn't he? And he can't do much through there. Well defended by Muscat. Parker's had a bit of a nightmare, and oh my goodness me, Oscar Hardwick's trying to take him around the outside, and well, Parker's just cut the... He's cut the corner completely, but he's let Hardwick through, I think. Yep, he has. So Hardwick is up to P15. He's in the points, starting from the pit lane. Bart the Boss not so good. He's in P18 at the moment. Only the one retirement so far. Roy Schroten. But this is your top 10. As they are now, Matt Richards leading from Jason Muscat, very closely followed by Whoopke Hoekstra. David Stanton 4th, Demule Meester 5th. Weeks now up into 6th with Cedric 7th. Oh, what happened there?
That was Joseph. Joseph should got overtaken by 3 cars in 1 corner.
Nice. Nico DeConnick 8th, Paul Watkins 9th, holding off Pedro Malim, Aaron Shergill 11th. Trying to defend off Miles Dixon, who's up into P12, and Alex Cooper is there as well. Oscar Hardwick there. Also, and oh my word, is Miles Dixon going to go around the outside of the Nouvelle Chicane? Oh, brilliant move there from the slipstream driver, and Shergill really getting swallowed up by the rest of the field now.
Yeah, just looking further up, and we have Jordan Weeks having a very good race here behind Demule Mister. Again, another good race. Demule Mister got a top 10 in race 1, and looks like he might get a top 10 again. And also looking further up, and Muscat and Hoekstra are catching up on Richards. Lost about half a second on that lap. But Hoekstra just unable to actually overtake Muscat, so Muscat's definitely not going too slowly as he is catching up Richards for the lead.
And you must wonder whether Whoopke's thinking about, well, surely it's better to keep position, wait for Muscat to catch up, and then try and go for the lead. We might very well actually see, and oh my goodness me, they've absolutely, and they've halved Richards' lead pretty much. Muscat is now within 5/10, and oh my goodness me! As I switch to the action now, Hoekstra's having a look at Muscat, and the three of them must be within 6 seconds of each other. Look at Hoekstra trying to go for second! And oh my goodness me, he is pretty much pile drive Muscat into the wall, but he's taken P2.
So as you said there, Hoekstra actually staying in third position, you know, just keeping it cool and then waiting until to catch up Richards to take the position.
Well, this is going to be very interesting. Team Roxal and Pulse Racing, two very new racing teams. Epic Racing, not a team which you'd expect to see at the front. Currently operating the top three positions as they are now, all within about 5/10 of each other, and this is really close racing at a very early stages. Whoopke Hoekstra there tries to look on the inside of Richards. He dives through, and is that the lead? That certainly is. The Pulse Racing driver on debut for the new team takes the lead as we now enter lap 7 of 20. The rain is coming down heavier though, so still lots to change, I imagine.
Yeah, and Oscar Hardwick, who's on the wet tyres, and also Cooper. Wait, am I getting confused between people?
Cooper's P11, Oscar is P12.
Yeah, they're both on the hard. Yeah, they're both on the wet tyres. Then they both pitted on the formation lap. So Richards now already looks like he might even lose the position now to second. Muscat's got the inside, has he?
Oh my goodness me. Good defending from Richards here. I mean, Muscat clearly the faster driver. Richards was, I think, very fortunate to be able to pull out the lead. And look at Muscat, goodness me. That was very much, yeah, that was a steely move from the Epic Racing driver car, and clearly faster than Richards, who has, like, I'll make my point now. He was very fortunate, Richards, in that everyone was battling on those opening few laps, especially Muscat and Hoekstra, but in these last couple of laps, Muscat and Hoekstra have really worked together to reel him in, and as we've seen, I mean, Hoekstra just flying away. He's a second ahead of Richards now, and it's quite easy to see why. Really starting to create a bottled cork effect as Muscat is clearly being kept behind him, and David Stanton, in fact, is starting to catch up to these guys as well in the VOD Bull car, so I'd imagine to see a move from Muscat very soon.
Do you think all the drivers will have to pit to swap tyres? Oh, Domino and Sedgwick, is that?
Yes, it is, indeed. And Milmeister is actually, yeah, he's lost a lot of positions. And oh my goodness me, Matt Richards! Matt Richards has spun! Matt Richards has spun on the penultimate corner, and he is now down to P7, unfortunately. So that means that Jason Muscat's up to P2. David Stanton up into P3. But goodness me, David Stanton's on a bit of a charge now. He's, and oh, Jason Muscat spun! Oh my goodness me, and David Stanton up into P2, and look at Jordan Weeks here. Can Jordan Weeks get past as well? And oh my goodness.
Sorry, about Richards, he actually sort of lost control on his own, but then Muscat just gave him that final tap.
So maybe a racing incident, I'm not sure, but Jordan Weeks looking very racy here. Muscat lost it on the entrance to turn 1. David Stanton up into P2, and he's got a whole load of trouble behind him now in the form of Weeks, Sedgwick, and indeed Demilmeister there.
As I said earlier, do you think the drivers will have to pit for wet tyres if this rain continues?
It really depends on how warm the tyres are. If you keep the tyres warm, you'll get more grip, and it's not exactly chucking it down with rain. And I think it's when it really starts to chuck it down with rain that we're going to see the tyre change. But nothing so far as Jordan Weeks. Well, he's going to try and look to the inside of New chicane. Is he going to look to the outside? He brakes with the extra room. Muscat trying, and oh my goodness me, Cedric giving a bit of a love tap on the rear. And that's going to have relieved Muscat for a bit. As Cedric tries, well, as Weeks, I should say, tries to regain ground. Looking at the drivers that started from the pit lanes. Oh god, Weeks getting very unsettled there. Right, Oscar Hardwick is P11. Roy Schoten, of course, retired. Bart DeVos now up into 14th. So both drivers who are still in the race who started from the pit lane, now both into the points.
Oh, Weeks!
Oh my goodness me! Whoa, what was... Well, Jordan Weeks is out. That was huge. Can we get a replay of that?
Hit the wall. He hit the wall at the final corner and just completely blocked the track for everyone else.
Jesus.
He turned in too early, did he?
Oh, and Cedric spun at turn 1 as well! And Cedric's out as well! So huge calamity here at Monaco on lap 9. Well, it was lap 8, sorry, of 20. Whoopke Hoekstra still running away with it, but after all of that, Dimitri Demulmeister is now up into P4. Matt Richards, though, very close behind him in P5. Paul Watkins, well.
Oscar Hard, we got a massive train here with Cooper Hardwick. Yeah.
It's the Watkins wagon. He's up into P6 again, but he's very much caught. He's very much created a corkscrew effect.
Oh, Hardwick and Cooper made contact.
It certainly did. And
sorry, no, wait, is that Melim actually?
Well, it's Melim, yeah. Oh my goodness me. Oh, Conning's round. Oh, dearie me. It's all starting to kick off here as Connick is now down to P10. And, well, Watkins is certainly going to be relieved by that. The battle is very much on between Milk Racing. They're in a midwidge as Pedro Melim defends from Hardwick into the Nouveau Chicane. And, well, this is going to be very interesting. Milk Racing Team and Midnight Motorsports, of course, quite close in the standings. I believe Midnight's actually leading the constructors at the moment purely because they field 2 drivers to every event. Hardwick's teammate, Martin Palm, hasn't been at the last 2 events, I don't believe, as it is now. And he's got a lot of work to do, but they're currently fighting over P7, P8 and P9, so it's not exactly game-changing points at the moment.
Yeah, and something that isn't that much of a game changer is this battle between Dixon and Williamson. 2 drivers we haven't really looked at too much, but 2 drivers that can fight fairly most of the time, and Dixon actually runs wide and misses the chicane, and that gives Williamson the position there.
The 3 retirements so far are Roy Schroten, Jordan Weeks.
Oh, Hardwick has spun!
Oh, has
Hardwick has spun!
You sure?
Yeah, I'm totally sure because I just saw his car spinning.
You are absolutely... No, you're absolutely right. I was just looking at the wrong part of my timing screen. He's in P9.
I think he's lost concentration because of the car ahead, which I think was Cedric who's and just in like 2, opposite lock and then spinning the car. So I think my prediction for him winning the race may not be correct now anymore.
Well, this is quite poignant actually, because the man behind him in P10 is now Bart the Boss. And so it's going to be interesting to see how these 2, whatever tyre choice they have made, whether it was indeed wet like we think or dry, how they're going to fare in the later parts of the race, because it's not raining anymore. And that could have a huge, real change on things. And actually, looking at Paul Watkins, he's lost out to the 2 Midnight boys. So Paul Watkins down to P8, Pedro Melim up to P6, Alex Cooper up to P7.
Yeah, and that Oscar Hardwick hasn't lost too much time moving on. I think he just cut up the wall a bit. Hard to tell. Yeah, the Oscar Hardwick hasn't lost too much time, even though with that spin. So I wouldn't be surprised if he can at least still get a top 8 with some overtakes in the last 10 laps.
Closest battle now is between P2 and P3. David Stanton for Vodbull doing an exceptional job for the Vodbull team, currently up in P2 in their lovely new livery. Actually, I think it's the first time they've actually had their livery in a WSS racing. It's looking pretty swish there, but the livery means nothing in racing. And currently Jason, and Nico de Conning's out. I'm not sure what happened there, but as I was saying, Jason Muscat for Epic Racing, he's been in P2 this race before, and David Stanton is notably slower.
How has Demulmeister gone into 4th?
Oh, he capitalised on the people in front of him crashing.
Okay, that's more of a rhetorical question, but okay.
Yeah.
Either way, Matt Richards now might only regain that 4th position. He wasn't happy to be starting from the front, but he did quite well until he made a mistake and then contact between him and Muscat.
Actually, was Richards ahead of Demulmeister? He was, you're right. So Demulmeister has overtaken him in that time.
Was he? I don't know.
We don't know. As it stands, though, Demulmeister's in 4th, Matt Richards in 5th.
Well,
let's go back to... Oh, sorry.
Why should we know? It's not like we're doing the broadcast or anything.
No, clearly not yet. Anyway, back to the battle between P2 and P3. Just to note on Whoopke Hoekstra, his lead is now 8.7 seconds. Really running away with this now. Really showing what he can do in this drier weather. Jason Muscat, however, is being held behind Stanton. But he's a prolific overtaker, is Muscat. And I can imagine that with 8 laps of the race left to go, he's going to be making a move sooner or later. 3/10 the gap now. Looking much closer now into turn 1, actually.
Oh, he's got a good run up the hill now. Also further back, and Richards is still right on the back of Dominguez, but now the Casino Square. Ooh, back out of it. Yeah, couldn't get fully alongside, didn't have much of an overlap, so just had to go off the throttle slightly to make sure there was no contact as they went into Massenet.
So you can't do anything into this downhill section now, and that's something happening. Oh, Bart the Boss is past Hardwick. Bart the Boss is past Hardwick, but they've got Paul Watkins for company now. Let's have a little look at this battle for P8, P9, and P10 as the battle at the front, keeps on going. We'll have it. Oh, what a good time to cut to it. Hardwick mercilessly spins the Boss and doesn't wait up for him. I'm not envious of the incident report siders. That's a terrible word to call them. The admin report, people's view, or whatever. Oh, God. Those guys, I don't envy their job. They've got quite a few incidents to look at today, and that was merciless from Hardwick, and he's up into P9 as a result, but for how long, we're not quite sure. The rain coming down quite a bit more, though, in that tunnel section there now, and so it's going to be interesting to see whether, that does get heavier than before, of course.
Yeah, it is
we did see it ease off.
Again. It's starting to rain again, I've noticed. So now 9 laps to go. Oh, made that 8 laps.
7.
No, well, it's now 8.
we're on lap 13 of 20. So
yeah, so we've actually got just less than 8.
Just less than 8. No, but no, I think although the rain's coming down now, I think what we've got to remember is that it did ease up again earlier in the race. Alex Cooper has gone past Pedro Milim. Team orders?
Possibly. I wouldn't count it against them. Cooper is fighting for the championship.
Pedro Milim's not in the right team.
And with Hardwick having a mistake earlier.
Oh, hello, Jason. Oh, no, Jason Muscat. Oh, dearie me. Have a mistake on Jason Muscat.
Well, he's now dropped behind Milwester and Richards, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. Is there a replay now? I saw him going into that section backwards.
Let's see. So he's lost it on his own. Oh, he just lost the rear of the car in the Casino Square, and that's just sent him sideways. And I've got to say, that was pretty close there with Dominguez, but did no contact made.
Danton is going to be absolutely relieved, as is Demulmeister. He's now up into the podium positions. And I tell you what, Woods Racing across all of GPVWC this season needs something to lift their spirits, and Demulmeister doing just that in P3. Got to watch out for Richards though. He's still in P4. Jason Muscat, I think, will be disposed with though very quickly, as Alex Cooper's right on his tail now.
So we just skipped that battle, and yeah, Alex Cooper should be able to re-overtake him. This will be for 5th position, and considering the Hardwick is down in what, 9th?
He's P8 now. He's past Paul Watkins, and actually looking at Watkins, I believe he's going to be overtaken by DeVos very, very shortly.
Yeah, and when you mean very shortly, you mean into the Rascal chicane, not chicane,
really.
the hairpin.
We'll see. Watkins
you mean just dive bomb here?
No. DeVos is better than dive bombing. He knows where it's currently. He has a massive tank slapper there on the penultimate corner. But yeah, don't discount Watkins. He is a good defensive driver. We've seen that even on his first race here in GPVWC, and you got to give you got to expect with the likes of Hardwick, who's currently leading the championship. It's of course he's going to get past. He finds a way past always. DeVos not so much fighting for the championship, but still a fast driver, and a Super League driver no less. And Paul Watkins is going to be very much out of his depth here, and oh my goodness me, look at Bart DeVos, he is round, and that was just pure speed differential, unfortunately. And he's now got the work to do all over again. Oh my goodness me, what the hell is happening up front? Muscat is defending from Cooper all the way around this downhill section. Can Cooper make it around the outside? Oh my goodness me, there's a bit of smashing. There's a bit of crashing, and they're still going side by side, and they will do into the Nouveau chicane. But given that Cooper can brake properly, and oh my goodness me, that was a bit of bashing there as well. And well, that was robust. But Cooper is up into P5.
Well, these are Porsches, not open wheelers. You do have a bit more contact.
That was I wouldn't say it was clean, respective racing, but it was certainly, the fact that none of them...
Racing. It was good racing.
It was good racing, yeah. None of them came out of it with a puncture, so...
It was Schumacher and Wirtz Monaco type of racing.
Yes. Certainly was. And Cooper now is re-signed to pull away, and is, in fact, going to be falling into the clutches of Cooper's teammate, temporary teammate, Pedro Milim. just having a look up at the front, Whoopke Hoekstra's lead is now 13 seconds. David Stanton, so pulling out every lap. David Stanton himself is 3 seconds ahead of de Mulmeister, who himself is then 2 seconds ahead of Richard. So things starting to separate out a bit now. The closest battle on track, I believe, is actually the Muscat-Malin battle, if you can call it that.
Well, yes. Well, not really a battle anymore, but yeah, they are the two closest cars on track. I think there's a few cars further back who are a bit close. There was. Dixon's got away from Sovic. No, not Sovic, Williamson. Lennon's got away from Sovic. Lennon, is that? Oh no, it's lap car. Yep, there's no one. Okay.
Oh, Mavericks is round! Oh no, Mavericks is round just on the entrance of the tunnel. And he must have lost it on his own.
Yeah, I'm just watching... sorry. Oh, okay, yeah, just watching a replay. I'm guessing he's just lost it. I think he's guessing he's just... Oh no, he's only lost it under braking. That's very weird. Very weird there.
So what
he then had to wait for the car to go around the corner.
What that means is that Alex Cooper's now up into P4. Jason Muscat. Jason Muscat.
Justin Muscat.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Justin Muscat's having a pretty good race so far.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's up in P5 with Pedro Lim P6 and Oscar Hardwick, who started from the pit lane, now up into P7.
Yeah, and he is actually closing on the back of Malim now. This battle for 5th could end up into a 3-car train.
Certainly good. And we got 4 and a bit laps left, and what's that going on? I thought something was happening back there. Probably just my eyes going a bit weird. I do apologise. Let's keep on this battle for P5. Jason Muscat, Pedro Lim.
Sorry, Hardwick was extremely loose there going out of turn 1.
No, he's got it under control. Clearly.
It was just sort of a heart in your mouth moment.
Yeah, someone who doesn't have it under control is Jason Muscat, who's sliding around that left hand though. It's not looking like a happy car, that Epic Racing car, and Pedro Malim's going to try it around the outside of the downhill if he makes this stick. Oh, and Miles Dixon's retired, and oh my goodness me, Pedro Malim trying absolutely everything to try and get around Muscat, and he's going to try and do a similar thing to what his teammate did 2 laps before. Well, Jason Muscat seems to have wised up to it now, and oh my goodness me, is Pedro Malim going to try for the inside of the tunnel? No, nothing doing there. He's still behind Muscat, and I believe he might have to wait another lap before he gets another chance like that. Or the say that Muscat covering the entrance very well, and really showing off his skills here. Muscat P5 still a very respectable position for the racing driver, but one must feel that Pedro Malim is the faster car by far. And this is not helping his teammate Alex Cooper, because this is allowing Hardy to catch up, which obviously is Alex Cooper's title rival. Indeed. Pedro Malim rounds the final, penultimate corner now. They round the final corner, and yeah, you can see just over the course of this lap how much Oscar Hardwick has caught up. He's right on the back of Pedro Malim now, and so the Portuguese driver has 2 things to mind himself about: the unstable Muscat ahead of him and the very stable Hardwick behind him. Hardwick clearly the fastest driver of the 3, given that he won race 1, even though he was conserving fuel, and Pedro Malim's got to find something to get past Muscat in the next couple of laps or so, otherwise he's going to lose the position here.
Oh, and Hardwick's looking for an overtaking opportunity. No, I thought that Hardwick could only overtake an opportunity.
Oh, dearie, my goodness me! How on earth did they not? Well, I'm not sure how on earth all of them were able to save that, but either way, Jason Muscat went into the wall, had a bit of a nightmare breaking into the second part of the downhill section there, and Hardwick is now up into P6.
Yeah, and that's a very important position. It just gives him an extra few points to help in his championship battle.
It's also very important for Malim, because it means that he can now attempt to stretch his legs, though it looks like Hardwick is very much keeping with him, so Malim's still got a bit of a job on his hands of lap 17, soon to be lap 18 of 20. The gap up at the front now between Hoekstra and Stanton is 12 seconds, though Stanton is only... well, that is less than 5/10 now, surely. De Mulmeister, and the Woods Racing driver, has an excellent exit of the final corner. He's right up alongside the Volvo driver, and in fact, he's going to take P2 as long as he gets it all in for the corner. Yes, he does. Excellent move there from De Mulmeister. And he is up into P2.
You want me to react to that?
Yay! And actually, one extra thing to keep an eye out for is look at Alex Cooper there in the background. He is catching up, hand over fist. He's only 2 seconds behind De Mulmeister at this point. And things could really start to go off. We're on lap 18 of 20. And so if Alex Cooper's going to do something, he's going to have to do something very quickly and very effectively to get past both Stanton, or just to get past Stanton even to get onto the podium.
And yeah, this is needed. He needs to try and this is very important for him. He needs to make sure he maximises the opportunity due to Hardwick's mistakes. There's no point. There's no point of only finishing. There's no point of only finishing fourth when you could very easily be second. And those are quite a lot of points between second and fourth.
It certainly is. Stanton looking very slow though, and look at this. Cooper an excellent exit out to the Nouveau Chicane. Is he going to try up the inside? Oh my goodness me, Stanton gave him the room, but Cooper wasn't able to get through. And all this is actually helping De Mulmeister, who's now 2 seconds up the road already. And oh, Stanton has skipped the chicane.
He's got to give the position back.
He's got to give the position full stop. And indeed, Alex Cooper from P19, or sorry, P18 even, is now up into the podium positions.
Hardwick actually tabbed Mel in there in the final 2 corners. And now just going on to the penultimate lap.
Lap 19 of 20 here at the Circuit de Monaco. We've had a little splash of rain, or little splashes of rain throughout the entire race, but nothing as bad as race 1. And, well, certainly a lot still to happen in these final couple of laps. De Mulmeister not exactly looking like the fastest of drivers in P2. Can Alex Cooper catch up to him? Can David Stanton hold on for fourth? Or Pedro Malim, can he hold on to Hardwick? Or can he hold off Hardwick even? In P5, a lot to answer. Let's stay on board with Pedro for the moment as we enter the downhill section. Oscar clearly the faster driver, but he's only got 1.5 laps to do something. And around Monaco, that's not the easiest thing to do by a long shot. Heading now into the tunnel section. Hardwick got a good exit there off the corner, but one must wonder whether Malim will be able to hold off him into the Nouveau Chicane. Malim has been noted for his fabulous entrance into GPVWC as a very, very good defensive driver, and once again showing that he has no fear against Hardwick. You know, when you look at championship leaders like this, during the example the lap earlier with David Stanton and Alex Cooper, when you've got big names like that up there, you usually tend to give them more room, more respect than the other drivers. But Malim has already established himself here in the short time that he has entered at GPVWC, and holding off Hardwick extremely well into the penultimate corner. What can Hardwick do into the final corner? Well, he's got a decent exit, that's for sure. Can he get him into turn 1 as we enter the final lap of the race for these two? Hoekstra's lead is now 15.4 seconds. Can Hardwick do anything? No, he can't. Look at the battle for P2 and P3 though. Alex Cooper is right on the back of Dimitri De Mulmeister now. De Mulmeister goes wide. Can Alex Cooper get through? No, there's just not enough grip there, but De Mulmeister hanging on for dear life from the Midnight Driver.
And this is what he needs to do, but Cooper needs to get in this position. As I've said, every point matters, especially when he gets to the second half of the season, which starts at... Oh, and Oscar Hardwick going down the inside of Malim. No, he can't make that stick. We have 2 battles, both of which are very close, and both of which are very important for the championship fight.
We'll be interested to see whether one can stay in the other. David Stanton, actually, you've got to watch out for him as well. He's currently P4.
Going into the chicane, Cooper on the outside.
Oh, can he make him this? Oh my goodness me! Cut across De Mulmeister very aggressively there, and De Mulmeister actually has a better exit out of the corner. Malim holds Hardwick, and De Mulmeister's going to... Oh, what a shame! He tried to take it around the outside of Cooper, but nothing doing. And Cooper's up into P2. De Mulmeister down to P3.
Even if he has some major damage like a puncher, I think he should still be able to keep the position. And
look at Stanton. Oh wait, Hoekstra's finished the race. Okay, Hoekstra has actually won the race. Oh no! Malim has crashed into the back of Stanton, and Hardwick's gone through to P4. Unbelievable scenes here, and David Stanton's been bullied down to P6. And well, that should be another look at the stewards as well. That was not good driving at all. Jason Muscat's going to come home P7. He'll be happy with that. But DeVos P8, another decent effort there. Paul Watkins P9. Great job from Paul Watkins once again. And Matt Richards from pole position. He finishes P10 with Phil Joseph P11. Tom Parker P12.
Okay, I've just noticed what happened. So going into Rascas, there's at least slight contact between Hardwick and Melim. Hardwick actually breaks a bit later than Melim. Melim then hits Stanton. And then Hardwick then sneaks down the inside due to the contact, and he gains both the positions. So that was not a good way to gain 2 positions there.
No, there's a lot for the stewards to look for at the end of this race. But let's not take away from Whoopke's win. This is Pulse Racing's debut in WSS. This is Whoopke Hoekstra's debut in WSS. And he's got a win already. Real challenger once again. And can he be a strong upstart by Petakasa? Well, only time will tell. I certainly think that this race around Monaco has certainly given him a good platform to launch a championship challenge.
Yeah, I think if Hoekstra had at least been in the start of the season, he would have definitely been a good driver. He would have been at least in the top 5 in the championship. And, you know, he's shown that he is very quick in the dry. In Super Bowl, he was 3rd. With race fuel. Okay, he struggled in the wet, but in the dry, he was clearly the quickest.
Certainly was. And so hopefully, we'll get some interviews. I'm not sure whether Hoekstra's actually... Well, hopefully we'll get him. That's a shame. But we'll get some interviews, hopefully with some of the top drivers for the rest of the race. But that is it now for 6 weeks, unfortunately. A lot for drivers to reflect on, certainly. And well, for some it was too much. The likes of Jarl Tejan, I don't think he'll be rejoining the series any time soon. His aggressive style of driving led to aggressive consequences, and unfortunately he retired quite a explosive fashion. If you ask me though, Julie, you know, if you're gonna hand stuff out, you've got to expect it back. Although there is a certain limit on things, and I think that people should look at their driving standards after this race, because not everything was nice and rosy like we'd like to see it here at WSS.
Yeah, it is a shame to see that. Obviously, you know, you want good racing, you want action, but contact and carnage is not what you want. You know, that's not the type of action we want to see. However, compared to last season, this was absolutely superb.
It was.
We had no major pileup. We had, you know, no major start line collision. It was just sort of a bit of aggressive braking, you know, just the odd tap on the rear in the slow corners. That's the problem.
I will remind you of Jordan Weeks in race 1. Grosjean incident.
Oh, yeah, but it wasn't that major. They only affected about 2 to 3 cars.
Yeah. But actually, I think the retirements certainly show it. I mean, you know, less than half the field retired in both races, which is it's good for Monaco.
So
at least.
we do have a few drivers for interviews.
And I think I shall hand over to you, Bradley, to do the interviews for the first half of the season.
Okay, so Oscar, you had you defended from start to finish in race 1. However, we heard that you had to conserve fuel. Is this true?
Yeah, I seemed to be about 5 to 6 litres short on what everyone else had worked out to be race distance. And in all fairness, that was just a mistake on my part, and my maths being rushed just before the race itself. So I did have to save fuel, but because of the conditions and the fact that I had wrong tyre pressures, but it gave me good runs off of corners, I could just about hold on from Alex, and all credit to him. He drove really, really well and didn't push me around too much, which I'm no angel, because I was very much a pushy driver in race 2. So all in all, pretty good, and as good a result as I could have hoped from that race 2, really.
Yeah, and in race 2, we noticed that you had actually gone back to the pit lane for the start of the race. Why did you make that decision?
I had forgotten to change the tyre compound. So I started the formation lap on wet, and had that have been the case with race 1, I would have been very upset, because obviously I had the pole there, but I was near enough at the back anyway, so didn't cost me too much, and I caught back up to Alex and Tom relatively quickly, so didn't lose out on the battle. There were other incidents with people spinning and me overcorrecting and having a very, very Larry car today that meant that I was a bit put out in race 2, so that's why Alex finished quite as far ahead of me as he did. But, I don't know, pretty good.
Okay, well done on your race 1 victory. James, you want to interview anyone?
I'd love to interview some people. So let's actually talk to Alex Cooper. What an emphatic race 2 that was, getting from P18 to P2. Obviously, Oscar Hardwick had a very strong round here as well. We've got a 6-week break now until Istanbul, but then we've got 6 rounds left. The question is Oscar Hardwick too consistent for you, or do you have a few things up your sleeve? You know, what's your general thought process as you go into this 6-week break?
Well, I think it's going to be pretty close, to be fair. I mean, in the other races, I didn't really have the best race 2s due to incidents, but it came together today, and even after stopping at the final corner, so I managed to get second. So it depends if Petter shows up for the rest of the races, because he'll probably dominate the rest, but Oscar's definitely in it.
We actually talk about Petter, but Wupke Hoekstra was looking pretty handy here as well. Of course, he qualified 3rd on full race fuel and took the win in race 2. I mean, you look at what Petter's been able to do. I mean, Wupke can very possibly take away points as well.
Yeah, if he races. I mean, he had a good qualifying, and not sure what happened in the first race, but yeah, he had a good race too.
On to Tom Parker now for Simic. Podium for race 1. Not so good for race 2. Was it incidents from other drivers, or was it more on your part that you fell down the field?
Race 2 was horseshit. That's putting it lightly.
Language again, please.
Yeah, I was pretty crap, and then tried to overtake people, and then I failed. They failed. Pretty much a fail. That's all I can say, really.
Yeah, but I mean, surely it's still. I mean, obviously we have Roy double retirement this evening, and it must be said that this is not exactly the most consistent round for Simming. But that said, you still most definitely have the pace to be at the top. You know, is this 6-week break welcome by you lot, or would you rather be straight going on to Istanbul Park?
I prefer a 6-week break. It's nice to relax for a little bit, just concentrate on doing some super cups, some open wheelers. It'll be nice. It'll be a nice rest. These are getting tiresome anyway.
And finally, Scott Sovic. Well, unfortunately, your evening never really lifted off. Was it? I mean, what was the cause of the problems? Is it just the wet weather in general, or was there not much practice in there?
A bit of both. I think it was a bit of both, because I didn't quite get the wet setup ready, and I'd only had about 1 hour of practice on wet, so I didn't really pay off.
But I mean, yeah, we got a 6-week break now. We're going to Istanbul next. You know, what do you think of the track? You know, is it a track that you particularly enjoy, or is it just a nice change from all the other tracks where it's kind of stop-start?
Good track, yeah, but I'm not sure if it suits the Porsches we're driving, especially turning up. I'm a bit scared of that corner.
I think everyone's scared of that corner. But that's something which we'll have to see how that turns out in 6 weeks, Bradley, unfortunately, and hopefully it'll be alright. But until then, let's not worry. Let's just relax. So yeah, I think Monaco's definitely been interesting. We've had lots of action. We'll leave it at action. Oscar Hardwick remains the leader of your WSS Championship. We will return on June the 26th at Istanbul Park, and so it just leaves me to say goodbye from myself, goodbye from Bradley.
And it's goodbye from Scott Sovic.
And goodbye from Scott Sovic. Say goodbye, Scott.
Bye.